the pick, and Gilmore comes up with it.
The Patriots Pregame Show is the world's largest virtual tailgate, featuring fans of the six-time Super Bowl champion New England Patriots.
Brady under center, gives to Michelle, runs it left, a dive to the end zone. Touchdown Patriots! Michelle for 6.
That's the offense I know. That's the offense we love.
Hardy, Paul Pirillo, and Mike Dussault are here to do the grilling as your hosts. This week, the Patriots are home against the New Orleans Saints.
James White cuts it under the right arm, cuts it upfield, driving forward, diving to the goal line. A touchdown and a title for the Patriots.
I can't believe it.
Hardy, Paul Pirillo, and Mike Dussault are here to get you ready for the game.
It's football time, fellas. Let's get into it.
Now, live from our studios inside Gillette Stadium, Patriots Nation, welcome to the Patriots Pregame Show presented by Dunkin.
Welcome into the Patriots. Oh, I got a little weirdness going on here. I think I pressed a button.
That happens.
That happens. Welcome into the...
Great start.
Now my headphones are talking to me. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Great start. So we got Hardy.
How about this?
We got Mike Dussault.
We'll try that to start off with.
And me, Paul Pirillo.
And by the way, I love all Bose products to the point where it's getting a little weird. I'm thinking about putting Bose stickers on like just certain things that I own.
Yeah.
Just so people know. You want to identify yourself sometimes with things. But
do you have like one of those little families in the back of your car with like you and then you all have the Bose headphones on?
I should.
In the outline.
I should.
That'd be cool.
Welcome into
you
the
guys should be giving the Tampa Bay game a lot more attention than you have
Sorry.
so far.
Patriots
Do you just
pregame
think
show.
this is just a normal show? I mean, what are we doing?
Tom Brady.
Patriots pregame show fueled by Dunkin. Thank you, Matt Morrell. Operator error on these headphones. There we go.
Oh,
now we're back.
Now I can actually hear him.
So,
There you are. I didn't know where you were.
I'm here.
You.
Get used to me. I left out the middle part. What we're doing is a pregame show for the New Orleans Saints. We're not looking ahead to next week. We're not doing any of that. There's been enough of that this week. We got a game here today at Gillette Stadium. First things first, gentlemen. Welcome into the program. We have the best in the business, Matt Morrell. We got LePan. We got everybody making the pictures happen here today. We'll be bringing you live warm-ups during the Patriots pregame show. But we got a bunch of people out in Foxborough here for, let's face it, that home opener against the Dolphins, the season opener, and as exciting as it was, there was a little tiny lack of buzz in terms of the people. The crowds are back today, baby, and they were here. They were here for the Dolphins. You know, it seemed like there was a little something off.
I agree. I feel the same way today driving in because it took me a while to get through the gate. There was all kind of car backup trying to get into the parking lot, but I agree. We saw the pizza guys that usually they weren't. I don't think I saw them last week. That always have the little brick oven on the trailer out there.
Where were the pizza guys against the Dolphins?
So beautiful day.
I agree.
1 o'clock start.
There's something.
There's a buzz.
There's something buzzing about this game today that, let's face it, guys, was not buzzing about this game earlier in the week.
No, you get Brady back here and people get excited.
That's what people are going to be out there. What?
This is an historic game.
Wrong NFC South team.
Do you think anybody's here?
Yes.
Yes,
I do.
100%.
By accident.
My wife. She thought today was the Brady game.
Today was
tickets were available.
This week, in all seriousness, this week was one of the more infuriating weeks that I can remember. Just in terms of trying to do your job, we're not scientists. We're not breaking any new ground. We're a bunch of idiots that talk about football and the Patriots specifically. And to try to do that this week was tough.
Yeah.
Because I think you're trying to talk about the Saints and the problems that they present and Sean Payton and all that stuff. And almost at every turn, you were interrupted by Brady talk.
Yeah.
It was frustrating. What are we going to do next week?
Well,
it'll be plenty.
I don't think we're going to be lacking for anything next week. And look, there were a couple of things this week that I think, with regard to the Saints game, with regard to the Bucs game, I should say, that do have something to do with the Saints game. We'll mix them all in together when it's appropriate. But we're going to do our level best to focus in on the New Orleans Saints, who are here in Foxborough to take on the Patriots at 1 p.m. Eastern time today. But before we get to any of it, and that includes going behind enemy lines and our picks and the over-unders, we have to get the keys to the game.
Why did you leave the keys up on the table? You wanted to.
You've waited all week for it.
The whole team's in the locker room right now just listening to this, waiting to hear what you're going to say.
Without these keys, the Patriots are destined and doomed to fail.
Here are Hardy, Paul, and Mike's keys to the game.
Why, did I steal your key to the game also?
You have the key. You have the right one.
Keys to the game here on the Patriots Pregame Show, fueled by Dunkin, Hardy, Mike Dussault, Paul Pirillo, bringing you the keys to the game. I said it in the intro. I'll say it again. The reason why the team listens to this show in the locker room, why it's on right now, is they ignore everything they're told all week in coaching. They pay attention to these keys in order to secure victory. So, right. Mike, why don't you get us going?
Just like say, hello, Patriots. Good luck today. Here's my tips for you. So I think there's a lot of focus this week on what the Patriots need to do. Like, there's a lot of talk of red zone offense and getting the ball downfield and finishing with touchdowns and stopping the run. And we know the narratives that have kind of emerged. And those are all valid. But I think for me today, I think this is going to be a back and forth game. I think it's going to be a close game. I don't know if they're going to be able to do, to make steps in the things that everybody wants them to make steps in. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But for me, it's 60 minutes. I just think this is going to be a competitive game. They're good in all three phases. The Patriots are usually pretty good in all three phases too. So I just think this is going to be a game that comes down to the wire, and the team that executes in the fourth quarter is the team that's probably going to win.
I think it's a great key. I think it is a like prototypical Bill Belichick 60 minutes, all three phases.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All three phases of the game type of game. If you want to win this one today, the Saints. It's, you could convince yourself that these are two pretty equal teams. So how are you going to win it today? You're going to have to play the full game. You're going to have to win all three phases.
I agree that the two teams seem rather even. I think they have some issues offensively on both sides, trying to find ways to put points on the board. And I do think mistakes will determine the outcome. And I think if you can play relatively clean, either side, I think, can say this. You'll have a really good chance to win the game. I think in order for the Patriots to get where they want to go, they're going to have to run the ball a little bit better than they have in the first 2 weeks. And I don't even necessarily mean the amount of yards as much as the efficiency. Mike brought up briefly the red zone struggles. Well, they haven't run the ball very well in the red zone so far. They had one example with James White against the Jets where he had couple of spread formation runs, and that might be the key. Maybe the Patriots look to do a little bit more of that rather than powering up in the red zone and stacking for the run. Maybe they do what they did with James White on those 2 7-yard runs for the second of which was a touchdown. But I think they need more efficiency out of the running game. We'll see if Trent Brown can go today. We'll get the inactives in a little while. We'll see if he's able to go, if that has a big impact. But I think that was supposed to be a huge key to the team, is the play of the offensive line. I think it's been sporadic in the first 2 weeks. Maybe they get Brown back and improves, and they run the ball better today.
Yeah, maybe Ramondre Stevenson gets back on track. It would seem like
if he can get active too. We had Damian Harris, although it looks like he's going to go. He was removed, right? No designation for the final injury report of the week. So I just think that whoever is carrying the ball, they need to do it a little bit more efficiently than they have in the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, mine kind of goes along with yours, Paul, and I'm just saying control the line, whether it's defensive or offensive. It looks like these guys have been getting pushed around a little bit in those 2 phases of the game. So I would like to see them control the line a little bit more, and I think that's going to do wonders for your game, your running game offensively. I think it'll have something to do with how you control the run, although against today's team, I don't know if just controlling the line of scrimmage is going to do much against the running attack that the Saints are bringing in here today. But it will certainly help in the protection of Mac Jones, and it should help defensively as well. So let's do a little better job controlling that line of scrimmage today and not get pushed around so much. That's what I think will be key to winning this game, because I think it is going to be one of those 60-minute affairs like you talked about, Mike, and whoever is able to hang on and control things the longest will end up winning.
Yeah. Hey, Paul, something we didn't really talk about this week, and something I been thinking about a little bit today is, Taysom Hill hasn't really been I'm looking now, 4 rushes, 17 yards, but
might be a good
so much talk about Kamara. And that's something that the Patriots, it seems like teams throw that at them occasionally with the Wildcat stuff. And it really gives an advantage to the offense in the running game. And for a team that's kind of struggled, and if they can't do, as Hardy said, control the line, I wonder if Taysom Hill is gonna cause them some problems today.
Yeah, it might be a good a good time for Sean Payton to maybe unveil him. He's been quiet so far, and their offense has been quiet. And certainly last week they couldn't really move the ball at all. If he might look that way, and another factor in that, not necessarily for the Saints, but for the Patriots, you'd think you'd want to get some athletes on the field. And Zach Cox from Nesson just tweeted out that Josh Uche, Ramondre Stevenson, Devin Asiasi just came off the practice field doused in sweat, which is sometimes an indication that they're not going to be able to go. Uche did show up on the injury report on Friday, Hardy, with a back problem.
Yep.
So, you kind of look at the moves that happened subsequently. They elevated a linebacker. You're going to have to help me with that.
Yep.
See, I knew Deuce would be able to handle that. So Jelani Tavai was elevated from the practice squad on Saturday. He's a linebacker. Might that be an indication that they're looking for a little more depth? Not that they want Tavai to go out there and handle Taysom Hill, but they need another guy to take Uche's spot. He's been a limited guy in terms of snaps, so that could be one less guy you have available today.
All right.
And you mentioned Stevenson, too, which would be something to monitor. If he doesn't go, does J.J. Taylor go again, and does he get any more action than he got last week with just a couple carries?
I know it's you're gonna play him, but are you really gonna play him? He's gonna be out there.
Just in case guy. I don't like the just in case guys. I want to see a little something more.
Yeah, I don't blame you. All right, so we'll go behind enemy lines here in just a couple more minutes. We got a time for a phone call or two before we talk to our friend there from New Orleans. So we'll start with cousin Patty in Agawam. What's up, Pat?
What is shaking, fellas?
How we doing?
What's up, Patty?
Good, man. Making some jambalaya. I got to say, Paulie, the call I made on Tuesday at Nikhil Harry, I said that purposely just to try and get you laughing. Mission accomplished.
Yeah, absolutely.
One more game. Just one more game without him. Don't worry.
I liked it. That was very well done.
Open it up, baby.
Yeah, we'll have all the weapons back next week.
Oh, I'm just wild about Harry.
So I just wanted to say, I think a big key to the game today is going to be trying to get a little bit of pressure on Jameis and force him in interceptions. I mean, 72 career starts. He has 90 picks, bunch of fumbles. I know he hasn't lost every single one. But I see this being a tight game. I'm going to say it's going to be 21-18, and the defense scores late to make it 28-18. A lot bigger gap than what we're going to see, but I'm ready, baby. I'm ready for a nice close game and for another Pats win.
All right, appreciate it, Pat. Thanks, buddy. It brings to mind a conversation that I'd like to kind of let percolate for a while. Then we can talk about after we go behind enemy lines here in a couple of minutes. But just the overall importance of this game, and there was some debate as to, how badly the Patriots needed this win. Last week, I think you could absolutely make that argument. Today, I'm not. I think it's a tougher argument to make.
That's a must-win.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we'll just save it for a couple of minutes here, and I'm not down.
Let it marinate.
Yeah, I'm not downplaying the importance of the game at all, and I'm certainly not looking past the Saints. Just in terms of what your record could look like after weeks 3 and 4, and what impact that would have on the season. So just let that ruminate. Percolate.
Yeah. Can I add a philosophical point of that to marinate as well? Is what does must-win mean?
Oh, God.
Just so you know, Deuce has issues with, I would say, conventional wisdom in general.
I'm just asking questions.
Okay.
Do you want
to talk semantics?
The true definition would be if you lose the game, you're eliminated.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
But there are must-wins in sports that don't necessarily eliminate you from contention. I would argue that the Yankees winning yesterday was a must-win for the Yankees if they wanted to get the number 1 wild card. They could not lose that game and realistically expect to overcome that. I would say the same thing with tonight for the Yankees. They can't fall a game behind with 6 left playing Toronto and Tampa while the Red Sox are playing Baltimore and Washington. So, yes, it's possible that Red Sox could lose all 6 of their games and the Yankees could still win. But they must win tonight. If I were a Yankee fan, I would say we have to have this one.
And at the end of the season, it's certainly easy to find those must-wins. So I just think, a week 3, what is a week 3 must-win in the NFL? And that's the question. And I'm not saying that it's not.
I would say a week 3 must win would be okay. So
if
now
you're
we're 1-2
and playing a bad
we're playing
team.
the defending Super Bowl champs the next week. You know, we're looking at 0-3, 1-3 right in the face. Yeah, that's trouble for a young team to overcome.
You're speaking about it and not letting it simmer.
Ruminate.
I'm not sure I'm using that word correctly. John DeShazer is on the line. Let's go behind enemy lines.
You know the view from New England.
We go behind enemy lines.
But what about the view from the other side?
Well, I'm doing great, even though I miss being there with you guys.
And that's why you're our favorite pregame show guest every year.
You guys know you tell everybody that.
Time now to go behind enemy lines.
My God, it's coming right for us!
And here he is joining us on the Patriots Pregame Show, John DeShazer, who is the senior writer for NewOrleansSaints.com, Pelicans radio color analyst. What? Oh, you're a regular Renaissance man, John. Thanks for being on the show.
Do a little double dipping, but hopefully it works out well in the end.
You're on with Hardy and Mike Dussault and Paul Pirillo, who without knowing, I mean, I've known Paul for many years. Paul, are you the senior writer at Patriots.com?
No. I've only been here for 23 years.
Okay, well,
I hope to someday get there.
Is there someone who's been here a little bit longer than you that would know?
No, we just don't. I don't know if you know, Bill Belichick's not big on titles.
That's just a dressy way of saying we don't have anybody else to do it. That's all it is.
All right, very good, John. Well, I see that you're here in the stadium today, so welcome to Foxborough. Tell me something about your Saints early on this season. Jameis Winston is certainly getting a lot of conversation.
Yeah, well, they probably weren't as good as 38-3 over Green Bay, and they probably aren't as bad as 26-7 loss to Carolina. They're probably somewhere in the middle. Jameis Winston, I think, for the most part, the first game went about as well as they possibly could, but everything was tilted in his favor. They, harassed Aaron Rodgers. They got him the ball in the short field. He made great decisions, and Carolina really flipped the script on him, and from the standpoint of Carolina applied a lot of pressure. They brought some pressure packages that the Saints didn't adjust to and never did adjust to throughout that game. And so it made Jameis Winston probably take a lot more heat than he should have because his protection was not there. He didn't get a lot of receiver separation, and a lot of that had to do with timing. Just the fact that Carolina really, really beat him up pretty good. They sacked him 4 times. They hit him 11 times. He wasn't so beaten that he couldn't have played this week, but certainly they got to him. And, if you hit any quarterback enough, it's going to make him a little bit skittish. And I think he got to a point, especially later in the game, where, nothing was happening. He probably forced a couple of throws that he shouldn't have. That's how he ends up with the interceptions. And I think that's the recipe, obviously, that the Saints will see time and again until they show that they can do something about it.
John, what did you see out of Jameis this summer? I mean, we talked plenty this week about the first 2 games and the disparity in the performance between the two, but how did he play this summer, and how did he win the job? And secondly, do you think there's going to be more of a role for Taysom Hill? We were talking a little bit about him here in the show, and might he have an expanded role here today against the Patriots?
Well, with Jameis, I think was the thing we saw the most during training camp and preseason was his decision-making. He didn't feel like he needed to force something, and he said he learned that from sitting behind Drew Brees last year where, the best decision sometimes might be to take a sack. The best decision sometimes might be to throw it away. The best decision sometimes might be to check it down, punt, and wait for another series of downs instead of trying to force something. And we saw that during training camp and preseason. And then the second thing with him is this dude's got an arm, man. He can throw it. And when I mean throw it, I mean he can fit it into some tight windows that very few quarterbacks in the NFL can fit it into. So the thing with him is the decision-making. Do you try to fit it into every tight window, or do you know when to hold them? And we think that he's learned better when to hold them. That's for Taysom. He goes back to his, the tight end, jack-of-all-trades role, and the Saints really, and I mean, I hate to say this, but I mean, they're probably a better team with him playing all of those roles, especially if you don't have Michael Thomas, and especially if you're missing some other weapons. You get him and add him to the offense where he can be that multi-dimensional player and can give you some plays here and there. Can he still fill in at quarterback and give you some snaps there? Of course he can. He gives you that extra rusher, but I think this team is going to be a better offense if he's playing those multiple roles. Now, if Jameis Winston can't get protection and he's getting batted around, I don't know how that's going to go, later in the season, but for right now, it certainly seems like this is the best option for the Saints.
John, switching sides of the ball, there's a lot of guys sort of missing on defense as well. Some of those guys are, I guess, that you were missing last week are coming back. It looks like Lattimore and Gardner-Johnson are in, correct?
Yes. They should be playing today, and that's huge. I mean, because we're talking about Marshawn Lattimore, one of the better cover corners in the league. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, one of the better slot corners in the league, and certainly probably, arguably the best adjutant in the league.
He's definitely that.
Yeah, so you get those two guys back on the field, and you hope that matters some because you might have to cover a little bit longer and maybe give your offensive linemen and your defensive linemen and your linebackers another heartbeat or two to maybe get another step to the quarterback, get another step closer. So you hope that those coverage opportunities will present themselves where those guys can make the coverage and they can give their guys on defense a little bit more help on the back end.
Are they able to get enough pressure without the personnel that they're missing? I know, Davenport's out, and there's still another game or so on the suspension. I always try to pronounce his name. Is it Onyemata?
Onyemata. Yeah, he's going to miss 6.
So he's going to be missing for a while. Look, do they have enough up front with just Cameron Jordan to get enough pressure on the passer?
Well, they did against Aaron Rodgers, but they didn't against Sam Darnold, and that's the thing. Which one of these teams is the Saints? Can they get that pressure with Cam Jordan? And last week we saw Peyton Turner, the first-round draft choice. He really showed up big, but David Onyemata, I don't think people realized how valuable he was from a standpoint of an interior push. He's one of those guys who, he's got that grown man, old man strength where he just pushes pockets and collapses things and makes things easier for guys on the end. So can Cam Jordan get some things going? We'll see, because he doesn't have a sack so far. He came close last week, but he didn't get his hands on the quarterback. And then you're talking about, Marcus Davenport being out, and he was probably having a really good start. So, now can you generate that pressure with those guys who are remaining? And that remains to be seen. Are they the guys who got to Aaron Rodgers and flustered him and really frustrated him for the most part? Or are they the guys who couldn't get to Darnold?
John DeShazer is with us from NewOrleansSaints.com. John, I see you fell victim to the same thing I did a couple of days ago, where on your Twitter you posted that the Sopranos marathon was on HBO, and you got 1 foot down that rabbit hole. How are you going to cope today without being able to watch, 3-4 episodes, which I did myself yesterday? I didn't plan on it, but I kept peeking in.
Dude, I lied. I said 1 foot. I jumped in the rabbit hole, both feet all the way down. I mean, before I knew it, it was like I was 4 or 5 episodes deep, and I just, I love the show so much. And I didn't realize how much I missed it, and I jumped like midstream into one episode, and the next thing I knew, it was 4 or 5 hours later.
Oh,
and I was like, you know what? I probably shouldn't have tweeted that because I don't want.
It's dangerous. It's dangerous.
Oh, I've been there. We've all been there.
It happens, but I find
except for Deuce. All Deuce does is watch the Patriots, but everybody else does a lot of stuff.
Let me ask you this, John, because there is this affinity toward the Saints in New Orleans for Patriots fans, because I think everyone looks upon New Orleans as being like the Super Bowl host city. There are a lot of people who would just be completely happy with New Orleans hosting every year.
Oh, I would.
I know that when we traveled down to Houston, that the one place where we found more Patriots fans that were willing to be Patriots fans for a game, it was in New Orleans, and that's, I know, because they were playing Atlanta, so that makes sense. But there seems to be a decent relationship between these two fan bases. Do you get that same sense, or am I reading this all wrong?
No, I think that's true, and you know what? I don't know how much of that stems from the friendship between the two head coaches. I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with that. I think,
good point.
Because Sean Payton and Bill Belichick are so friendly with one another, and they know each other, and these two guys, I get the feeling, don't count a lot of people as friends, but they count each other as friends. and I think
that's a nice way of saying it.
Yeah, and I think the fan bases kind of understand it, and I think that I think they're knowledgeable fan bases saying, you know what, if my coach likes this guy, then I guess we can like his team. We'll like him until we play him, and I think there's a lot of that going on with these two teams.
John, can't let you go without just asking you one quick one about Alvin Kamara. I mean, a huge part of the game today. What exactly happened last week? I see eight rushes, 5 yards. What did the Panthers do to him to slow him down? And do you expect him to get a little bit more loose today?
Well, the Panthers swarmed him, and I expect to see a lot more of that because he's a playmaker. And if you're missing Michael Thomas, if you're playing the Saints, I think you would be derelict in your duty defensively if you don't say we're going to load up on 41 and we're going to make somebody else beat us. I think you just would be really neglectful defensively if you didn't do that. Now, they only had 43 plays on offense last week. He got 12 touches, but they were minimized to the utmost because he couldn't get anything going. They got to get the ball in his hands a little bit more, but they got to be on the field a lot more too. That's the only way you can get him more touches, and you hope, if he can't get something going in that first 8 to 10 touches. Alvin's the kind of guy that on the 16th touch, he might make a 40-yard reception or he might make a 30-yard run. He's that kind of player. And so you got to give him some more opportunities to make something happen.
Paul, do you want to ask John the question that we ask every guest at the end of the interview?
I didn't know if I could step on your toes and do that.
No, you can
but
do that.
I will. We ask all of our guests, John, to make a prediction, and I believe we've been doing this for 10 or 12 years now. We've had one person only, decline to make a pick. So we would ask you what your thoughts are in today's game.
Well, for the safety of my employment, of course I'm going to take the Saints.
There you go.
And I'm going to take the Saints, and I'm going to say 24-21. I'm going to say they steal it by a field goal here on the road. Now, again, you're talking about a rookie quarterback. A rookie quarterback. I mean, is there such a thing as a rookie quarterback now? Because it's hard to confuse these kids now. I mean, so in Mac Jones, we've seen anybody who completes better than 70% of his passes. I don't care if they're all dump offs. I really don't give a rat's butt.
Yep.
All I know is he's been efficient and effective, and he's doing what they ask him to do. And if he isn't turning the ball over, then that's about as much as you can ask for a quarterback nowadays. So I think the Saints will get it, but hopefully they'll be able to apply a little bit of pressure on him and maybe rattle him into something. But he doesn't seem like the type that rattles very easily.
All right, John DeShazer. He's the senior writer for NewOrleansSaints.com. You can follow him on Twitter at John DeShazer. That's SHAZIER. John, enjoy your time here in Foxborough, and hopefully when you get home, not too much will have happened. I get the sense that AJ will have gone through puberty by the time we pick up the marathon again.
Oh, okay.
And we may be into Johnny Cakes territory, which I don't know how you feel about that string of episodes. I don't mind them. Other people do not care for them. So.
Look, I loved I loved it from the beginning. I did not like the way it ended, of course, because they left you hanging. But every episode, man, because there's not just the drama involved, but there's also the comedic value in it and the little subtle things that will leave you in stitches. And it's like, I can't believe they put that in there.
It's so much funnier watching it a second or third time around. I didn't realize how funny that show was when I was watching it the first time.
Hilarious. It could legitimately have been cast as a comedy if there wasn't so much killing.
If there wasn't so much killing.
I hope we can't say the same thing about this game today afterward. That'd be really funny if it wasn't. If there wasn't
14 turnovers.
So much carnage out there and turning the ball over and whatnot. All right, John, thanks again. We appreciate your time.
Hey, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
All right,
thanks,
John.
Oh.
I
top 5.
A top 5 guest.
He's in the top 5
guest.
That's great. He's in the top 5.
All right.
Great.
Put him up there.
Great mix of information, seriousness, and tomfoolery. Didn't even bat an eye when you transitioned to Sopranos.
More than willing to talk about it.
Openly admitted I work for the Saints, so I'm picking the Saints. There you
go. Yeah, everything about him. Yeah. There we go.
We salute you, sir.
Just well done, John. Let's make it a point to look for him when we go upstairs, and we'll thank him. And
slap
tell
him the
him
butt.
he's right
Good
up
job.
there with John McClain.
Yeah. That'd be nice.
Five.
That'd be nice. All right. Well, we'll get back to your calls here at 855-PATS-500. You can also send electronic mails to webradio@patriots.com. Just a little pat on my own back. I've been much better about the emails this season. It only took me like 3-4 years, but we've been getting to virtually all of them.
Hardy, I think you're doing
not many
a
calls
fantastic
dropped
job.
either. Not many calls.
I really do. I think he's doing a fantastic
job. Picked his game up here in year 6.
Thank you.
He's really settled into the role nicely after 30-plus years in the business.
All right. That's a shot that we're going to ignore. Go to Trey in Memphis. What's up, Trey?
What's up, guys?
Are you at the stadium today, Trey?
Absolutely.
All right, nice.
Live parking lot report.
Yeah, good. What's going on?
Man, it's been a while since I've been here, man. Everything looks new. got a lot of new things going on around here.
There have been a lot of improvements in the stadium over the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, wait till you see the new screen.
The most recent you'll see when you go in, the enormous
you can't miss
video
it.
board.
Yeah, can't miss the new screen.
Absolutely. Well, this is the first time that I brought my wife here, so I couldn't keep taking the trip, not bring her. Then I got a couple of my friends, one of my good friends and his wife. Saints fans, of course, but hey.
Oh, wow. Saints fans.
Yeah.
That's all right. So
that's just poor to me.
Give me one thing you want to see in this game today, Trey. Tell me one thing you want to see happen on the field from the Patriots.
But I just want to see them get after the quarterback, man. Like I said, they just attack Winston. Thinking we could get to Winston, I think, we'll be okay. So, I don't feel that, we should let him sit back and be comfortable in the pocket.
Easier said than done, but I think that's really one we haven't talked about a whole lot. So I think that would bode well for the Pats.
He's not a very mobile guy, so he's not a real mobile guy. So I think it's the same game plan on the other side as well.
Yeah.
So I guess whoever can keep the quarterback upright, got a real good chance. So like I said, if both quarterbacks are standing there, not getting touched, you may have a high-scoring game.
All right. Take the over, says Trey. All right, thanks, Trey. Appreciate it.
All right, man.
Enjoy your visit.
The under for both of these teams has been a very good play as of late.
Yeah. Do we have? Yeah, that is one of our. All right.
Real quick,
I'll
Mike
have to pay
Reese.
attention to that when we get to the over-unders. Yeah.
Mike Reese is down at field level, probably doing some pregame television work. Says he's here with the offensive linemen, 8 in total, and not seeing starting right tackle Trent Brown, who is questionable with a calf. So still a ways to go here before we'll find out for sure, but Mike is down there. Some guys are milling around doing some pregame work, and he does not see Trent Brown.
Yeah.
Not good, Bob.
Could be another Yasir Durant, or Justin Herron, maybe a combination of both, depending
Is
how
this
they
the week
play.
it's Kajust?
It could be. All right, let's go to Nick Baby Love joining us now on Patriots Pregame Show, fueled by Dunkin. What's up, Nick?
Hey, just as usual, fantastic show.
I agree.
Good morning to my paisan Paul and Mr. Holy Cross D-Train, and of course Matt, and then you, Hardy. We'll touch on the Sopranos. I'm an expert on that.
Okay.
In the future, Paul, you had to get me started. Alex Cora is on timeout with Belichick still. Yankees suck. I violently can't stand the Yankees since I was
It's a great
born.
phrase.
So
all
we got to do is win today, and the Yankees won't make the playoffs.
Oh, okay. All right.
Putting that aside, we can't go into next week's game, which is already too much hype, too much noise for me. I just, I want the people to treat, Tom Brady with class going into next week. And so we can't go into that game 1-2. We got to be 2-1 because even though Belichick's, like I said, I got my issues with him. This is a tough season. If he doesn't make the playoffs, you can imagine the narrative because obviously Brady's going to make the playoffs. Well, how far he's going to go? Well, today's going to tell us a lot. And, that's it. I still love my Patriots, love my Red Sox and Celtics and Bruins, and, I love you guys. So, look, have a great after game. And like I said, today's show just is par for the course when you're touching all the bases. And
I appreciate it, Nick. Thank you,
like
buddy.
I said, it's all good. We got to win. We can't be 1-2.
Okay, well, Nick, perfect, man. Thank you so much for setting us up because that's what we're going to talk about next in terms of the importance of this game today. And those are the two scenarios, obviously. You go into Tampa with some momentum after getting a win today at 2-1, or you are behind the 8 ball at 1-2. And either way, next week, I think you're staring at a very, very difficult task in getting a win. Or
this is the Paul scenario.
Or
I go 1-1-1.
That's not what I thought was coming.
Okay. or you forfeit next week, and that way you don't have to make a decision as to whether or not Tom Brady gets a video tribute. No,
Tom Brady will get a video tribute.
Okay, we're not going to do this, Rob. We're going to do this all next week, okay?
Please.
Pre-game.
Pre-game, not after game?
No.
Pre-game?
A video tribute. When do you think the video tribute would take place?
I was poking fun at my buddy Nick for calling.
Oh, all right.
So he told us to have a good after game.
Yeah, after game. Yeah.
Which I appreciate, Nick, even though I'm poking fun. You know I love you.
But honestly, I'm talking about overall scheme of things, right? No, of course you don't want to be, and let's just for our conversation's sake, chalk next week up to a loss. For this team and this season, for Mac Jones in his first year, as they're bringing him along slowly here, and some things are still coming together, is there a huge difference between being 1-3 and 2-2?
I think so.
There is, but I also think this is a young team, and there's going to be a lot of games left at the end of the season, and maybe if they don't quite get these close games here in the beginning, that maybe they can get them at the end. Now, I see this team as a playoff bubble team, and that's there's no question 1-3 is a tough start, and that's could be hard to recover from. But I just think I'm realistic about what this team is right now, and unless they really take some dramatic steps forward today, I mean, it's definitely very possible that they're going to drop this game. So I think it's going to be competitive. I think it's going to be back and forth. If they lose a close game, I'm not going to throw my hands up and say, well, that's it. The season's over. I still think that they have a ways to go, but it's week 3. So
yeah,
I need to see progress.
I totally agree with Mike. I see them as a bubble playoff team, a team that if things fall right, they can squeak their way in. And in order for those things to go right, I think games like today need to be wins. Mm-hmm. They had one of those in week 1 against Miami. I like games that you go in and you're like, we're like 2.5, 3-point favorites, or we're getting 2.5, 3 points as underdogs. These games can go either way, right? The toss-up games, you got to win some of those toss-up games. They've lost one against Miami. I think it would be tough to lose another one because there are going to be some other games where you're probably just going. I think Tampa's going to be a tough test. I think that will not be an easy game to win. I don't really think that's a toss-up game. So you can't afford to lose a lot of the toss-up games. And they've already lost one.
Yeah, and I agree, but, not to go full Dussault, to dismiss the notion of having a must-win at any point in the season.
It's not a must-win.
It's not a
It's not a must-win.
I think last week, based on what the Jets, showed out there on the field, thank goodness you won that game.
I felt last week was a must-win because that was not a toss-up game. That's a game you had in the win column, much like the other Jets game will be and the Houston game.
Right.
Those are games that you have to win. You have to win those games. And it's a simple equation.
Yeah, it would be a very good win for them today.
Put Jacksonville in that category too at the end of the year. That's another one. They have 4, I think. You can't lose those games to be a playoff team.
I'm starting to come around a little bit. Yeah, the notion that you have a team that you can get a win against today, it would be a good win. I mean, it's Sean Payton, it's Jameis Winston, who
I respect the program.
I respect him a lot, and I don't care that he only threw for 148 yards in week 1. He did throw 5 touchdown passes.
Right. As we said during the week, Mike and I, you throw for 148 yards because 5 of those couldn't go for any more yards.
Right.
5 of those ended up in the end zone.
Yes.
It's not like he was getting 2-yard completions. That's why he was throwing for 105. He threw 5 touchdowns.
Right.
If he throws for 5 touchdowns today, the Patriots are going to lose.
Oh yeah, I don't see that as any kind of a contest there. If they put 35 up just in touchdowns alone from the arm of Jameis Winston,
and then what does Kamara do if he's throwing that many? Then you got problems.
Let's get some more calls here. I want to talk more about Kamara too, in terms of you got to figure out a way to stop him. Do you really? Are you going to? I mean, is that something that you have to key in on, or is he one of these? Again, kind of cliche Bill Belichick, well, he's going to get his, and we're just going to have to limit them in other ways.
I think he is going to get his. I think it's the big scoring plays that, don't get them down before the end zone and try to make them work for those scores. But the guy said it this week. He's going to get his share of plays, but it's hard for me to sit here and say he isn't the focus of the defense. The way they talked about him this week.
I can't imagine anything but that.
And what the Patriots have put on film as far as their run defense, you got to imagine that Sean Payton is going to do everything he can to try to continue for those problems to hurt the Patriots. So I think it starts and ends with Kamara. Gang tackling, I mean, you heard the guests say that. That was what the Panthers did last week. It's just 11 guys to the ball anytime he touches it. So I'm sure the Saints will have some plans to put the Patriots in a pickle a little bit and let them focus on Kamara and then go somewhere else. But that's why I brought up the thing about Taysom Hill. Like they're going to tweak things a little bit. It's not going to be as straightforward as I think the Patriots would love it to be, and I'm sure they're aware of that.
Yeah, I think he is. We've seen Belichick do this very effectively. Make a team, the phrase is make the team play left-handed. Make the team play without its best weapon dominating. I do agree he's too good to be held to 8 for 5 again. He'll make some plays, but I can't imagine that Bill Belichick will allow him to destroy the game. Somebody will have to play really well on the Saints. Probably somebody's. More than one will have to play really well other than Kamara.
It's like that random Patriots thing, right?
And
the
if
random
that
guy
happens,
beats you.
if that happens, then Kamara could have a big game because now you're kind of spread too thin. But I think if we're just walking out of here and saying, wow, I can't believe the Saints with no real weapons allowed Alvin Kamara to rush for 110 yards and catch another 70 worth of passes, and that was the entirety of the offense, I will be stunned if that happens.
All right, let's go to Dan in Colorado. Dan, you're on the Patriots Pregame Show, fueled by Dunkin. What's up, Dan?
Hey, guys. So I think for this offense to really take the next step today, it's important we get these tight ends more involved. They're clearly two of the more talented players we have. I would love to see Hunter Henry get involved in the red zone and Jonnu Smith more involved in the open field. Wanted to know if you guys think we'll finally get them more involved in the offense this week, and what effect do you think that could have for us?
That was I just played a trick on you guys, and thank you, quote unquote, Dan. That was actually me from last week. I recorded my voice saying the exact same thing about last week's game.
Cool.
Yeah. Let's get some tight ends involved in this, especially in the red zone. Can we do that?
Yeah.
Can we do that?
Yeah, still minimum, and I think it's been kind of what we worried with Gronk and Hernandez, where you couldn't quite get them both out together healthy at the same time. There's been a little bit of that, a little bit of adjustment. Johnny was good all through the summer, and that's a little bit disappointing that hasn't quite translated just yet. But I think those guys are exactly what they need, and hopefully we can get more of both of them healthy out there together, a little bit easier to dictate the matchups that way when you have both those guys ready to go.
Yeah, I think that the tight ends have been involved plenty in the offense, but not in the red zone. And I do think that makes some sense to try to see if we can get those guys. And I put that more on Mac Jones than I do anything else. More on Jones than I do the tight ends themselves, and more on Jones than I do Josh McDaniels. I think that there will be some opportunities. I remember one play in particular last week in the red zone that I thought Hardy was going to lose himself. He was going to lose his lunch. It was a 3rd and long from around somewhere between like the 10 and 15 yard line, and Jones took the snap, didn't really even look at anything downfield, just dumped one off real quick to James White, who lost a yard. Like, didn't even look at a thing. And I think there have been some instances of that in the red zone where he's been very quick to just take the underneath stuff, just take the first thing he sees and make sure he comes away with points, which is fine. That's good advice for a young quarterback. Not necessarily a sign of concern for things to come. But when you're 2 for 7 in the red zone and you're wondering why, I don't think they've run the ball great down there, and I don't think that they've been looking to make plays down there in the passing game. I think they've been content to just dump it off.
And in what could end up being a tight game today, you have to at least make opponents respect your other options in the red zone, and so far through a couple of weeks of the season, you haven't shown them that you're going to do anything other than run the ball. They could get away with it last week, and it doesn't you don't have to go full Zach Wilson and just tell the kid to chuck it whenever he wants and end up having him.
I'm glad you brought that up. Like, that's so true. Like, I've heard it a lot this week. Like, well, what do you want? You want Zach Wilson throwing 4 picks? No. I don't think any Patriot fan is cried for, let's see if we could throw more picks and be reckless and throw the ball all over the yard.
How about
throw the ball 8 yards over our intended receivers? I don't think anybody's looking for that. Is there something in between that?
How about one pass to one of your big tight ends in a back corner of the end zone when you're 5 yards from the goal line?
Deuce?
Yeah.
We talked on Friday in places you don't want to talk about at parties. We talked about Davis Mills on Thursday, right?
Yeah.
No, big
Same
bonus
kind of
baby quarterback, guy making his first start, didn't have the luxury of preparing the whole summer as the starter the way Mac Jones did. Didn't have the luxury of opening the season with game plans geared to his skill set, had to get thrown out there on a short week, and they, were they lighting it up? No, they scored 9 points. Understandable, but he was safe with the ball while also taking some occasional shots. My guy, Mount Cooks, right, ended up over 100 yards, 9 catches for 112 yards. I think he had, including a 40-yarder. Like, okay, they were overmatched because their team stinks. The Texans have no talent, so they weren't able to win the game. But they didn't lose it because the young quarterback was reckless with the ball like Zach Wilson.
They let him be a quarterback.
They let him be a quarterback. They played it safe, but they took some occasional shots.
Yeah.
And they were able to make 1 or 2.
Yeah.
I think
it just wasn't enough because they're not very good.
Yeah, we always talk, too, about, like, what's the offense's identity? And as the season progresses, have you found your identity? And I think there's so many new pieces coupled with a rookie quarterback that in the early weeks what you've seen is a reliance on what you absolutely know, which is James White and kind of to extent Jacoby Myers, the two pieces that have been here, and it's almost been a resurgence for White. So I think there's a lot of truth into what you're saying, them trying to figure out what we have, what's our strength, what kind of offense are we? And
Right.
I still don't have a real sense of any of that yet. So hopefully today we see some strides being made. I think they'd love to be a running team. I think they'd love to be able to run on their terms. But even that, it's been effective in spurts, but it's not effective enough that you feel like no matter who they go against, they're going to dominate in the
Love
run.
the big plays we're getting. Both games got a 35-yard run and a 29-yard run, I think, with the two. But it's everything else that I haven't been thrilled with.
Right.
So I like the big plays. That's good. The chunk plays are something that's been missing from the offense. So it'd be nice to be able. I'm not expecting a 30-plus yard run every week, but it's nice that they're getting some chunk plays. I'd like to get some more 5 and 6 yard runs too to keep the efficiency up.
Let's go to our friend Eldred in North Carolina. What's up, Eldred? You're on the Patriots Pregame Show, fueled by Dunkin. There it is.
The honk.
Hey, fellas, how y'all doing?
Real good.
I wish I could see the game live. I just have to do like I always. Catch it on NFL Network or what you call it. I work on the weekends now.
Do you watch right there in the Freightliner? Do you watch in the cab? That's because that doesn't seem safe if you're driving.
Sometime I ain't gonna lie to you.
Appreciate the honesty.
I appreciate the honesty.
Bruh.
Yeah, but most of the time, no, because I can watch it on the phone or whatever. But no, most of the time, no, I gotta pay attention. Because Virginia do not like speedsters because they would pull you over no matter if you're a truck, car, van, or a bicycle.
Well, you would think if you were watching the game, you'd slow it down. Just saying, right? Then you wouldn't have to worry about being a speedster.
Yeah, well, sometimes.
Right,
yeah, how can you watch your speedometer if you're busy watching a football game? I understand how that could happen.
Fair point.
All right, Eldred, what do you think about the game today?
The game today, key to me is I wish for once those big-time receivers and tight ends would just step up one good game. Give the kids something to throw to, whatever. And like Paul just said earlier, be a quarterback. Be a quarterback for once. And for people saying that Jameson can't run, yes, he can. He just refused to just stay back there or be a pocket passer. But if he can escape and he does have a little speed, he's not fast like Watson or but he does have some speed. Because I watched that kid in the Florida State because I'm a Florida State fan. He can escape and he can throw, but most of the time he's a gunslinger.
Right.
So I hope today he's a gunslinger and everybody throw a couple picks our way.
Yeah.
But I'm just hoping that our receivers and like y'all said, tight ends just get loose a couple times because that defense of the Saints, they got good corners and they got good front guys. So that's what I'm worrying about.
All right, appreciate it, Eldred. Drive safe, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.
Past 11:30
right,
here, still don't see the inactives. I see a lot of inactives coming in around the league. I do not see the Patriots or the Saints as of yet. Let's try to hold on, see if we can get. Can we get inactives before we?
Oh, sure.
Break?
That's up to Mr. Morrell. As long as it's okay with him, it's okay with me.
It should be. So I didn't miss him, did I, Deuce?
No.
I haven't seen him either. John in Natick has a question for our own Michael Dussault.
Oh.
It's your opportunity. A lot of people just view the Patriots pregame show as a chance to ask a question and talk directly to Mike.
I'm scared.
So go ahead, John.
Hey, John.
Oh, here we go.
Hey, Mike, how you doing?
Good.
Oh, hold on a second. We have inactives. Hold on. We want to get these out right away. What do you got for us there, Paul?
Trenton Brown, Ramondre Stevenson, Sean Wade, Ronnie Perkins, Josh Uche, and Devin Asiasi.
You ain't playing, guy.
That's
Those
right.
are your 6 inactives this week.
All right. Was looking like it, at least with Trent Brown when he wasn't out there for the pre-warm-ups there. But Ramondre Stevenson, Sean Wade, Ronnie Perkins, Josh Uche, and Devin Asiasi. Those are your inactives today for the Patriots. All right. We'll get to more on that in a second here, but go ahead and get your question in for Deuce there, John.
Actually, it wasn't really a question.
Oh.
I listened to the PFW or whatever it's called now.
Unfiltered.
And no one's really mentioned the series, except for Deuce, that he did on the, 2001?
Yep.
Super Bowl Patriots. It's actually pretty good. I listened to it, and I enjoyed it. He got a lot of people in there, and that was nice.
Oh, thank you, John. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's 2001 Super Bowl Sound Odyssey. 4 of the 6 episodes are out. We released episode 4 on Friday, and the other 2 will be out in the coming weeks. So thank you. Appreciate it.
Wow, that was very nice.
Have you caught any clips of that, Hardy?
No.
At all?
No.
Deuce did an incredible amount of work along with our own Matt Morrell putting that together. I just laughed because we literally have a segment every week where it's just devoted to talking about the 2001 Patriots and the time machine, we call it. We have like a Twitter, a 2001 Twitter handle, plugs for the podcast. And it's like the only one talking about it is just Deuce himself. I mean, I don't know if you know Hardy, but I star in the podcast. I'm an integral member. I'm I would have been like, if it was Saturday Night Live, I would have been one of the,
be like Old Man River telling the
not one of the featuring at the end. I would have been one of the main.
No, he wraps up a couple episodes.
Great
Great stories, though. I mean, that's what it's about. It's about the personal stories,
especially
the
ones
people that were there. Paul
whoop.
getting a drink spilled on him at the Super Bowl. Chewing his nails down, watching Drew Bledsoe go in against the Steelers. There's lots of good stuff. Lots of good stuff.
I don't want to go back there.
When I think of Paul,
auxiliary press box,
auxiliary
press box for all of those.
When Pirillo and Saturday Night Live, I think of the skit "Who's More Grizzled," and you could be up there with Robert Duvall and forget who the other guy. Oh, I think it was Garth Brooks who was playing an old man in that one. But you could hold your own with those guys. How long are the episodes?
They vary in length. The first 3 are all about 35 minutes or so. The fourth one was a little longer because it's the Raiders game. It's 52, I think.
I'll skip that one. But 35 minutes I can do.
Yeah, those ones are short. I mean, the Raiders game, it's just there's so many huge plays.
It really
obviously.
is a lot of good stuff.
There's so many guys and a lot of great guests. Amy Trask came on, and Joe McIntyre from the New Kids on the Block sung the national anthem and then snuck down on the field. So a lot of different point of views. Guys like Paul, Damian Woody, Jermaine Wiggins on the field, Joey McIntyre hiding out on the sideline. So a lot of different perspectives.
Just a note to your producer for these podcasts: when you get to that 50, 52 minutes, tighten it up. You just got to tighten it up a little bit.
Yeah.
It's 52 minutes to the end.
Very end.
I'm just saying.
Very end.
You want me to listen?
You're like 35.
If you don't care, then don't change a
You're
thing.
You're going to feel that extra 15 minutes, apparently.
You want me to listen?
Wow.
35.
Sound like a boomer right now.
Okay, all right.
You listen to a podcast more than once.
Hardy.
I was going to say, how many boomers complain about the length of podcasts?
Yeah, I think you got that one wrong.
I don't think boomers do a lot of podcasting.
Do you do the 2-time, the double speed, and just get blast through it?
Now that's an insult to the producer. These things, it's all about timing. Most important thing with all these productions, you know what it is, don't you, Deuce? Ask me the most important thing.
What is the most important?
Timing. It's all about timing, Deuce. Paul didn't see that one coming.
Neither did I. That was brilliant. That was brilliant.
I totally didn't
it's like
see
we
it
rehearsed that one.
I totally didn't see it coming.
All right, let's. Now we can step aside. I think you want us to, man. I think he wants us to.
50% of the time, it works every time?
Every time.
Every time. We will step aside, and we would like to thank Bose. Bose is proud to be the official sound and official headphones of the New England Patriots and the NFL for good reason. Every single thing they make. I mean, the closed-ear headphones I use at home, to the sport buds, to the sunglasses that just do kind of the thing on your temples there, and you can hear the sound without putting anything in your ears. Great for being out, like walking the dog and stuff. You can still hear traffic, so there's a reason why. And the Bose Quiet Comfort earbuds. Rule the quiet. Learn more at Bose.com.
TouchView Interactive is here to support your hybrid learning, distance learning, and video conferencing needs with easy-to-use tools that allow end users to collaborate, interact, and present seamlessly. TouchView Interactive offers a comprehensive line of accessories and software to support your audio-visual needs. Outfit your classrooms and presentation spaces with the future of interactive display technology. Visit touchview.com for more info. Offered by the Oakers Company, celebrating 100 years of service and support.
Join the conversation by calling the Ace Ticket hotline at 855-PATS-500 or email the show at webradio@patriots.com.
I like simple things, butter and lollipops. I'm not doing that.
Live from our studios inside Gillette Stadium, here's Hardy.
On the air? What I just said. Oh, okay.
Yeah. What did you just say? What I just said?
I just said something. I was working a little bit blue.
Yeah, you were. That's why I wanted to make sure that didn't get picked up by the Bose.
The microphones are not Bose.
No, that's why it didn't get picked up.
Wow. I don't even know what's happening anymore.
Me neither.
Paul, thankfully, is going to be leaving us shortly to satisfy his duties with the flagship station, and Deuce and I will hold it down.
The show really picks up.
But until that happens, let's take some more of your calls. I would not want to deprive CJ in Kansas City the opportunity to talk to Paul Pirillo. What's up, CJ?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey.
I find it just curious that Stevenson is on the inactive when Harris was questionable every day this week except yesterday. So do you guys think anything about that? And just want to get your thoughts.
Yeah. Well, just to clarify, he wasn't actually questionable. He was removed from the injury list.
Yeah, limited for 2 days.
He was limited on Wednesday and Thursday at practice and then was removed from the list on Friday. So that tells me that they think he's 100% ready to go.
Yeah. Still curious, though, because, as you said, I mean, they didn't really play J.J. Taylor. He's got an injury now. Harris does. Are they going to run him into the ground today? Are we going to see some of Taylor this week? I'm interested to see how they manage the situation, because I feel like going into the season they wanted to have those two guys play a role, and right now it seems like they're going to ride Harris.
I wonder if this is a big passing day.
Maybe.
The Saints have a really good run defense, and I hesitate to say what Bill would do in the past because of so many obvious
spread it
changes. But
in
the past, Bill would not run into a brick wall.
Right.
He would just say, we're going to run the ball 10 times, but we're going to throw it 50.
Yeah, maybe
by design.
And maybe some J.J. Taylor screens. Like maybe he gets involved in the passing game a little more than he would have. Maybe.
Well, I think
a lot of James White, a lot of underneath stuff.
Yeah. I think in the past what Bill would have done was, well, obviously, they've got a very good run defense here, so we're not going to run the ball. So the first thing Bill would do is go out there and run the ball a bunch and say, okay, we're not going to play into what, the obvious thing is here. But if that didn't work, that's when he would revert to the I don't care about a balanced attack.
No, he doesn't.
I'm going to get yards.
I'm going to do the thing that I think is best to do to win the game against this opponent.
Yes.
And the Saints average 66 yards allowed per game on the ground. It's a short sample size, in only 2 games. But they also faced Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah. And going back 2 years, they've been good.
And held him to 3 yards a carry. Like, this is not like, well, they got up big against Green Bay, and Green Bay couldn't run, so it skews the number. No, they shut down McCaffrey in a game that they were losing in. And the Panthers wanted to run McCaffrey to run the clock out. They couldn't.
I tell you what, just, I'm glad you brought up the Green Bay game again, because thinking about these two teams coming into this week, and this is not coming from the standpoint of, we're the Patriots, everybody wants to be I don't know that I would want to be a Saints fan right now, because what is that team? Really, when it comes down to it, the team that beat
transition. They're a team in transition.
But when you beat the Packers the way they did, Aaron Rodgers but he's still Aaron Rodgers. It's still the Green Bay Packers, and you still beat them out of the gate in week 1.
Right.
And then to get beat pretty soundly by the Panthers. And I'm not saying the Panthers suck. I think the Panthers are a lot better than
3-0. Their quarterback's thrown for 300 yards, I think, in all 3 games.
Well, give them credit. But if you're a Saints fan trying to figure out what your team is, I don't need that type of uncertainty in my life. And right now, things are very uncertain with the New Orleans Saints. It makes for a dangerous opponent today.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I think it's a lot like the Patriots right now, going through a little bit of transition at the quarterback position. They went a different approach than the Patriots this year with Winston. And, I mean, I think Winston's look pretty good. You look at last week, that kind of shades it one way. But I think he's a problem, and they're going to find it. It's two teams that have well-established coaching systems and in place, and they know what they want. And I think that makes it a little bit easier than when you bring a whole new regime in and you go through this transition. And not only do you have to figure out what you want, you got to figure out how the old players that you didn't necessarily bring in fit in and all that kind of stuff.
So now that Paul's out of the room,
all right, let's
and
talk
we can talk about
now. We can
get
get real.
Here's something I know for a fact. He just left the room to go do his call into the Sports Hub. Morrell told him he still has 2 minutes. Did he come back in here and participate in the show? No, he stayed out of the room. So he wants to spend time away from us. You know, right back at you, buddy. We're happy to have you gone for 2 extra minutes. It's fine.
My 2 minutes was wrong in Paul's defense.
All right. Well,
so
whatever. No, it doesn't change anything. He was willing to stay out of the room even though he thought he had 2 more minutes.
Just going back real quick to Paul's point too. I mean, the Saints defense is 4th in rushing yards the last 2 seasons as well. So it's a small sample size. He's right, but they've been good for a while, and I think they've got that part of their game in place. Sorry to bring it back to football real quick there.
You're getting to be insufferable.
Sorry.
You know,
I'll be sufferable. I'll try to be more sufferable.
I'm going to rely on Morrell for my fun as I normally do because we're going to Australia, and I know he has something for Amanda from Australia, don't you?
Hey, mate.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you. Amanda, how are you? What's going on?
Hi, how you going?
Let's put another shrimp on the barbie.
That's right.
Hey, Amanda.
Hey, how you guys going?
Good.
We're going. I don't know
We're
how to answer.
excited.
Yeah, I don't know how to
We're
answer
going
that
good.
question. How you going? It's an Australian euphemism.
I get the gist of
what?
it though.
Okay, if I were to ask you
how's it going?
How are you going? What would your answer be?
I'm pretty tired. It's like 1:10 in the morning.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, but hey, I'm giving you guys a shout out. Thought I would call in. I've learnt heaps from you guys by listening to you, and my partner's a long-time supporter and caller, Brad from Adelaide, and he's aided me in jumping ship over to you guys. I've learnt heaps, and it's going to support the Pats from now on.
What ship did you jump from?
Yeah. What?
I didn't bandwagon, but Seattle I've been going for a while. But
I like Seattle.
Yeah.
I like Seattle.
Well, it's a much easier flight too.
Yeah.
Yeah, going from Seattle to Australia.
I haven't been to that side of America yet, but one day.
Get to Seattle. I've been there for 2 games, and it's a great place to watch a game. It's a great city.
Amanda, what? Give me one thing you would like to see in this game today. Just give me one thing that you're going to be hoping happens aside from a win for the Patriots.
See Mac not beat himself up.
Oh yeah, does that bother you? Seeing how hard he is on himself, does that bother you?
Oh. Oh, poor guy, give yourself a break. He needs to, see how good he's being and the things that he does that are, doing well for the team instead of beating himself up all the time.
All right. Well, we'll watch for that today, Amanda. Thank you very much for the call. Say hello to your partner there for us, and thank him for getting you on board.
All right, cool. Thanks.
All right,
See you guys.
Thanks,
See
man.
you later. There she goes.
Late night. God bless the international fans that stay up
I
till the
love
wee
it.
hours
I
of the
love it.
morning.
Does it bother you that Mac Jones seems to be hard on himself? It doesn't bother me in the slightest.
No. It just I think the thing that keeps hitting me whenever he talks is like, man, they really found one of their guys to do this. This is the kind of guy that they want, that's gonna give the football back, that's gonna focus on I need to be better. All the things that you assume that they say to players when they get here. Talk about yourself. Don't make comparisons. Things you can read between the lines. He just seems to have an innate understanding of it, and he's jumped right in. He seems to understand the game and understand what he needs to do to put the team in a successful position. But I think that's what's exciting is just watching the progression week to week, and I'm hopeful that today we'll see some steps be taken. But I think no matter what, every time he's taken the field going back to the summer, it's always something that impresses you a little bit, and he continues to look under control and make good plays. And I know everybody's itching for him to unleash the bomb, but we saw that stuff all summer. I don't think he's afraid of it. I think they're just easing him in, and hopefully it starts to pay some dividends today as he gets a better understanding, more experience.
Yeah, and the easing him in part of it, I understand, I recognize, I know what's going on, but let's see just glimpses, going forward now. Had a couple of weeks of easing him in. Let's start to.
Yeah.
Today feels like cutoff
strides.
Today feels like cutoff day. Not to mention the opponent that's coming in here next week, but you're probably going to need to put up some points next week if you want to stay in that game.
Yeah,
and you're going to need to have better red zone efficiency in order to put up those points. I'm just guessing.
Yeah,
it's a spitballing.
And even with all the new pieces and a rookie quarterback, you're still waiting to see the sum to kind of equal the parts. And so far, you've had moments with some of the parts, but it just hasn't quite come together yet. It hasn't quite clicked. Maybe in little spurts. And I think that there's evidence, though, that we've seen after watching last season and what they were trying to do, that this is more along lines of how they want to run things and how they want their offense to behave. I think they just have to start to find their bread and butter, the things that they can lean on in the big moments. And it's tough. You got a bunch of new guys, 2 new receivers, 2 new tight ends, a rookie quarterback. So it's not surprising, but I want to see the progress too. I want to see them start to do things that get you excited about the coming weeks.
All right. Email here from Claire. Hi, Deuce, Hardy, Paul, Marine.
Hello, Claire.
Happy JE11 Day. We haven't even talked about the fact that there's a big celebration.
Yep.
For Julian Edelman today, but we'll get to that. So, Hardy, are we going to have Red Zone Pauly and Rider Zone Hardy?
I know.
Well done.
It'd be hard not to watch that Bucs-Rams game.
I hadn't even really thought about that, but as we are beginning our post-game show, the matches will probably be just going on to the they'll be finishing up and on the back 9 in the singles matches today for the Ryder Cup. So yes, I could have Ryder Zone Hardy today. Absolutely. That's a wonderful sound effect. That was Jim Louth quality. That's good stuff. So yeah, we got a couple of things to keep our eye on today here during that post game show.
Yeah.
What do you think of the matchup for the Bucs today?
I think it's a great matchup. I can't pick against them because they're clicking on all cylinders right now. They're playing like an angry team still, and I've just been kind of in awe in how well they're playing right now. And can they keep it up the whole season? Can they avoid the kind of critical injuries that derail teams like that? We saw plenty of Patriots teams get off to starts where you're like, they're never losing a game. And things happen, and you lose a little steam, and teams start to get you. But, I mean, it's Tom Brady. He has not lost anything, and, he's going to come in here, and despite all the pomp and circumstance and storylines, he's coming in here to win, and that's what people are going to have to, wrap their head around, and the Patriots should understand that and bring their own energy and try to counter what's going to be a team that's going to come in here and try to pound them.
It's about as good a matchup as you could hope for. I have to sneeze.
There you go.
Excuse me.
Yeah. I love with the Rams. They're like the darlings of the league right now. They got your boy Stafford. They have great defense and
short of the Bucs going up against the Chiefs. How do you really test them? How do you give them an opponent? To me, this is it. You put them on the road. You send them almost as far away as they can possibly go for their team, and put him up against a quarterback that's playing well and reinvigorated in his new environment, much like Tom Brady was last year. Let's see how these two teams match up today. So, again, short of playing up against, the generally agreed upon best team in a different conference, all right, see how you do up against the other team in your own conference and see how that looks.
Yeah, and talk about what you usually have when Tom Brady doesn't have his best games. It's guys like Aaron Donald and who get up, and it used to be Ndamukong Suh, who now is on his team, but those kind of interior guys that can get him off the spot. I think that's a big key. You go back to like Justin Tuck in the old Super Bowl of just nightmare all day getting right up the middle. So it's an interesting matchup from that perspective. And then really after this, I mean, there's not a lot of challenges for the Bucs. There's not a lot of games like this for the Bucs. There's a lot of cream puffs.
What's the rest of their schedule? over the next few
I mean,
weeks.
this is probably as tough as it gets for them. I got to pull up what their schedule is, but all of a sudden the NFC South used to be this Drew Brees and Matt Ryan and all this offense, and I mean, now after this they obviously have the Patriots, then the Dolphins, the Eagles, the Bears, the Saints. All right, Washington.
Eagles
Giants,
might be. Eagles might be a game.
It's okay. There's some okay teams in there. There's some okay, but it's not the usual, iron of each division that they're going to have to face. And I mean, I think the Bills on December 12th. That's one to circle for sure. See how the Bills do here, but that's Tom Brady. He's ready to go.
Until he shows you otherwise, it's hard to pick against him.
It is.
TJ in New Jersey on the Patriots Pregame Show. We're fueled by Dunkin. What's up, TJ?
How you guys doing?
Good.
I got
Hey, TJ.
a comment, a question, and then a hopeful prediction.
All right.
Let's do it.
The comment first is to congratulate Deuce. Was I correct that his betting record against the spread or prediction is 10-20 for the season?
It was, on PU. Yeah, not good. Not good.
No, that's actually statistically very significant. You're almost 2 standard deviations from the norm. And that's very
Hold on,
investable.
2 standard. I'm gonna remember that next week when they make fun of me. Well,
not
everybody can be 2 standard deviations from the norm.
Right.
It's very investable, even against the VIG. I'm going to give it one more week. If you keep this up, I'm going to start betting it and buying everyone lunches and dinners.
No, betting it, you mean betting against what I pick, correct?
Correct. Obviously, taking the other side. But don't change what you're doing.
All right.
Stick with what you're doing.
I got you.
Question, did we ever find...
Bro?
Oh, we lost you for a second there.
Yeah, we got you.
The throat injury. Did we find out what that was?
No.
The Kyle Van Noy throat injury.
He's back.
No idea.
He was still on the report all week, full participant, but strange.
Okay, my hopeful prediction is that Mac throws 4 touchdown passes, and then Jules hypes them up by yelling in his face, "You're too effing young. You're too effing young."
Excellent, TJ.
Right.
Thanks,
Guys,
buddy.
Have a great day.
All right, see ya.
What a great call.
He
made me feel good about my loser self.
Oh, my God. Bang, bang, bang. That was awesome.
It's like, are you really 10-20 against the spread? No. 2 standard deviations.
Yeah.
I'm going to write that down. Remember my statistics days.
I think it's purely coincidence that a guy from New Jersey who sounded like TJ did had such a comfortable understanding and use of the gambling vernacular.
Easy.
I think it's just I think it's a complete coincidence, nothing more.
Well, he brings up Jules. I'm excited. Did you hear Jules' press conference this week? His availability. It's like he's like a new, refreshed man. It was amazing, expressing his respect for everyone in the media for what they do. It was great to hear him, and I think he'll have this place rocking today. I'd love to see the Jules run out. We don't know if the knee's going to be able to handle that.
Right.
But that was a part. Not so much last year. It was a little bit more of a trot out, jog out. So we'll see where he's at, but be good to have him here.
He was always good with the media, though. I mean, he was never salty that I can remember, or clipped in his answers more so than playing for this team dictated. But for him to get the honor today, I just wonder, just the timing of it. All right. It's got a little bit of a circling the wagons feel with what's on the horizon for next week.
Yeah. Little feel-good game today. Get some goodwill going, good energy.
And if you're going to talk about, former favorite targets of the quarterback coming in here next week, let's get him on this side of things here the week prior, just as a gentle reminder. Julian, you are a Patriot.
Yeah.
You were always a Patriot. You've never been anything other than the guy that was an undrafted quarterback out of Kent State that was,
who gave you a chance.
What gave you a chance, and you played your entire career here. So maybe just keep it in the back of your mind if somebody asks you next week about Tom Brady coming in here. The video thing we did at halftime.
Right. It sounded like he was already on that page this week when he was, asked who you're rooting for, the Patriots, and thing I thought interesting about what he said was, they're asking him about his career, and he brought up the third down catch he had in the Seattle Super Bowl when he took that big hit and huge conversion. But he talked a lot about the initial years and the initial grind to just make the team, and kind of seemed to have a special just place in his heart for those early days, because it took him 4 years to really carve out a role and become the Julian Edelman that we all know now as that clutch guy. intense guy, setting the tone, all that kind of stuff. But, it was touch and go there for a while. I mean, he very well could have ended up at the Giants after 2012 and became a free agent, came back for a year, and, 2013, everything is history after that. But I'm excited to have him back in the building and to have him come out today. I think it'll as you said already, it already seems a little bit more energy here today, a little bit tailgate, picking up. So throw Julian Edelman on top of that. I think we're in for a good atmosphere today.
All right, let's go to Todd in North Carolina. Todd on the Patriots Pregame Show, fueled by Dunkin. What's up, Todd?
I think you guys are too positive, so I'm going to throw some water on your fire and tell you that I think that the only phase we're going to win today is the special teams. I think their defense is going to be all over us, and I don't think our offense is ready without a solid line. I was hoping that we would get Mr. Brown back, but we didn't, so we don't have any tackles right now, and that makes me nervous. And we're shifting people around, and nothing's really set yet. And the defense has got some. Like I was hoping Ushi would be there. I was actually hoping that they could have him spy Kamara. So I don't know, guys. I want to watch the game. I want to see some progress with Mac, and that's what I'm shooting for today. I think we're going to lose this one about 28-17.
Wow. All right. Thanks, Todd. Well, it does come down for Deuce to the defense almost always. Al from Italy says the same thing. I want to see a better defense. I'm fine with Mac Jones going easy, but I can't stand our defense. And today, Kamara is going to be a tough test for us.
It is. It's everything that you've shown to be a little bit of a weak spot with the running game. And granted, last week they had a nice third down stop on the goal line that was kind of what was lacking that first week. That first week they needed some critical plays. They were overall pretty good statistically, but when it came down to those gotta-have-it moments, they couldn't get it. So I'd love to see them put it together. But it's like we were talking about all week. It's like it's obvious what you need to do to keep this team in check, and it starts with Alvin Kamara. And if you go into a game like that where you know what you got to stop, and if you can't stop it, I think it's a sign of bigger problems. But I'm surprised Todd's confident about special teams. I think the Saints have real good special teams as well. That's one of the few teams in the league where you feel like that's an even matchup and another team that makes big plays. So I think they're going to need a big day out of their defense, and I think if they can execute that game plan and take some strides together, I think they will take some strides today. That's my positive outlook, that both sides of the ball, all three phases, they're going to start to put things together.
All right, Paul Pirillo back with us. How'd it go, Paul?
It was interesting, to say the least.
Oh, did you a little dust up in there with the boys?
Yeah, not involving me. They just started arguing with each other.
Oh.
It was like, don't fight. It's always bad when you fight. The divorced parents fight in front of the children. I was the children. Even though I'm older than both of the guys that were fighting.
Well, if you're composed enough and you emerged relatively unscathed.
Oh, I think I did.
We'd like to do the over-unders now. Are you okay to do that?
Oh, yeah, especially given the standings.
There it is. There it is.
Fire.
It's time for this week's edition of Over-Unders.
You're over me? When were you under me?
All right, Matty Morrell, why don't you go ahead and give us the standings before we begin?
All right, last week, Mike, 4-2. Paul, 4-2. Hardy, 2-4. Bringing the season totals to Paul, 10-2. Mike, 7-5. Hardy, 4-8.
Sorry, at least I'm consistent, 2-4 each week. No big deal. That's fine.
I'm very inconsistent.
No big whoop.
I was 4-2 last week, 6-0 in week 1, so I'm very inconsistent.
You're falling.
Let's keep the order, the same thing that we always do. So Deuce will lead us off. We'll go clockwise here in the studio, and each time someone else will pick first. We begin with you, Deuce. With Matt, what do we have?
We'll change this when it breaks. Mac Jones touchdown passes, 1.5.
1.5. I am going to take the over. I think Mac Jones throws 2 touchdown passes today, and everyone gets very excited.
Paulie Paul.
I'm going to agree with Mike. For the reason that I said just before I left the show briefly there, I feel like this is a day that they're going to have to throw the ball with more effectiveness than they have so far.
All right. Haven't seen it yet. No indication I'll see it today. I will take the under.
All right. Jameis Winston interceptions at 0.5.
Paulie Paul, we start with you.
Yeah, I'm going to have to take the over. I just can't see the guy who's thrown the most interceptions in the league since he's been in the league not throwing one against the team that has had the most interceptions in the league since Winston's been in the league. So
yeah.
I have to say he throws at least one.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's things have changed now that he's in New Orleans and he's not throwing it all over the place. That touchdown stat that he had his last year in Tampa was unbelievable. Or the interception stat he had. What did he throw?
30 for 30?
33 touchdowns, 30 interceptions.
I mean, it's nothing like that. But any quarterback coming in here against, just tell me, is J.C. Jackson playing? I'll go over the 0.5 interceptions on the day.
Yeah, I'm there with you too. I think that's an easy pick.
All right, we're all going over,
so to speak.
James White receptions 4.5.
I am going over on this one in a big way, honey. I think he has 7-8 receptions today. I think that's the easiest pick of the day. Deuce?
I'm gonna go under. I think he'll have 4, but I'm gonna play the odds a little bit on this one, and think maybe J.J. Taylor gets a little bit involved. I'm gonna play the under.
Yeah, I think he's averaging 6, so I'll take the over. I'm gonna do the Tyler Milligan from your station.
Yeah,
I'm gonna look at my data sheet and not have any analysis whatsoever.
Very boring, logical, football sound type of decision there. You could have told me he had 3 in each game. No, you couldn't have told me that. But
well, he has 12 for the year. They've played 2 games. Math. That's 6 a game. 4.5.
Hold on.
6 is over 4.5.
12 divided by 2. Line. Yep,
so
you're right.
I'm using my math skills.
Excuse me. Go ahead, Matt.
Alvin Kamara total yards 6.5. I'm just kidding. 98.5.
98.5.
Ooh,
that's a big number.
That is a big number, and it worries me to take the over, but I think I got to take the over on this one. I think he will get his. Hopefully, they don't let the other guys get theirs.
So tough. That's so tough.
So you went over 98.5?
I went over total yards.
This is a tough one. You know what? I'm going to do the same thing. I just feel like the Saints were a train wreck last week, their first week without their center, and he's out again. I think it's Eric McCoy. He's out again. I think they're probably a little bit more prepared for that, and Kamara gets a little bit more.
Well, it was the guy who was suckling hind teat on the over-unders so far this season. I have to go opposite you guys under. That's 98.5 yards. It's a ton. It's a ton of yards. I'm just going to take the under.
All right, moving on. Total points scored by your boy Nick Folk, 6.5.
Paul Pirillo.
Yeah. I'm going to take the under.
All right, so all this means is 2 field goals and an extra point to go over.
Correct.
So I'm going to go over. He's my guy. I'm not going to bet against Nick Folk. The streak continues today in Foxborough. Deuce?
Yeah, I'm going to bet on red zone offense, and I'm going to take the under.
All right.
Yeah, see, I messed myself up with my over prediction of the Mac Jones touchdowns.
Yeah, you painted yourself in a corner there. All right, good. All right, our last over-under is?
The total score, 42.5.
I will tell you real quickly. Hold, please.
All right, because I'm picking first on this one.
Okay, I'm going to tell you that the the Patriots are 13. The under is 13-5 in the last 18 Patriots games, and for the Saints, they are the last 5 straight, and 10 of the last 13 have gone under.
So you're saying pound the under?
The under is I'm just saying if you're going with trends. One of my friends sent me that earlier today.
I'm going over. Because I know what you're picking now.
And that's exactly what my friend said.
Yep.
I can show you the email.
Yeah. I believe it. That's sharp. It's very sharp.
Yeah, I'm gonna go over too. I've had a couple different predictions this week, but I think it goes over.
In other words, it's typical Deuce week. He's had a couple different predictions.
Yeah.
One of them will be right, and he'll be doing the Mick Jagger.
It's the difference between the Patriots by 7 or the Patriots by 4.
Yeah. I'm going to take the under. I just feel like the red zone problems with a couple of good defenses tough to overcome.
All right, there we go. Those are your over-unders. Keep those in mind, and we'll be tallying those as the game goes on, and I'm sure revisiting in the post-game. You're welcome to join us here on the Patriots Pregame Show. It's fueled by Dunkin, 855-PATS-500. Go back to the phones. Spee in Fresno. Spee, what's up?
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Hey, Spee.
I tuned in a little late night, sleeping in late,
Good for you.
So apologize if you already talked about this, but the New Orleans secondary against our receivers, what do you guys think about those matchups? Is Matt going to get some opportunities to move the ball with his arm?
I don't like that matchup for the Patriots receivers.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the Saints' defense as a whole, even just.
Yeah, if their front seven was at all healthy, I'd be scared to death of this game. But the secondary is reasonably healthy, and I think Lattimore, Gardner-Johnson, Roby, Williams, I think those guys are better than the Patriots receivers.
Yeah, I would generally agree. And I just think the Saints are well coached. They know what they want to do. I think they're going to have a good game plan. And I think as much as I like the talent, I also just like how they play together, how they work on all levels. And I think it's going to be a back-and-forth grind, I think.
So then we're lucky if Nick Folk has a big game.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're not – I mean, I'm feeling a little pessimistic of going into this one here. But I think it's just a growing season. I'd like to see Mac put it in the end zone with his arm at least 2 times, and maybe then you'll have your moral victory, but here's hoping. All right, I'll see you guys after the game.
All right, Speedy. I'm glad you got a chance to sleep in. What's that like? The guy's getting up at 9 o'clock in the morning. When's the last time you slept until 9 a.m.?
My God.
I can't sleep anymore. I think I have an issue.
Yeah, well, once there's any light coming, in through the blinds or anything,
it's been so bad for me lately that I was actually thinking, pretty soon, another month or so, we'll be
retired.
No, the clocks
dead.
It's fall back, right? That's coming soon. I dread it. I used to love that one day. Oh, this is great.
Right.
Because now I'm going to be
a
up at like
49-hour weekend.
Yeah. Now it'll be like 4, and I'll be up, and I'll be just staring at the ceiling in my bedroom, like,
hey, old man River.
Yeah, I know. It's true. It's true. Don't let it happen to you, Matt. Just get here and tweet out photos of the stadium at the time that I'm staring at my ceiling.
Wow.
That's what he did today.
Alex in New York is here at Gillette Stadium today. Alex.
Hello, everyone. How are you today?
Hey, Alex.
Pretty good. Good service.
Yes, that's right. I'm feeling confident. Every time I come to a game, they never lose.
Oh, good.
Good luck, Tom.
How's the energy out there in the lots?
Oh, it's awesome. Really good. Good energy.
Jealous.
Lots of Edelman shirts.
That's the quality of phone out there in the lot.
Oh, there it is, and that's why.
Did she just hang up? She just hung up. Oh no! See, I don't think she did. I think that phone was so bad.
I think the phone is so bad.
No, I'm serious. I think the phone just cut out on her.
I think she just threw her phone across the parking lot. She was
at
me.
me.
Guys.
Shouldn't it be on and they don't have to keep them turned on all the time, but if you were one of the big providers, would you put like a temporary tower out there to kind of help with the reception? If you're going to have an additional, 60,000 people in a 1 square mile area for the day, maybe do something to help with the service on that day.
Brilliant. Do you want me to get on it?
It just seems like something that you might feel compelled to do if you're running one of these big companies. But
the power of Wi-Fi compels you.
Liam in England. What's up, Liam?
How we doing, guys? You all good?
Oh, Liam.
Hey, Liam.
You sound like you're from
Not as good as James White looks.
Oh, the warm-ups are going on. It's the warm-ups, everyone. Everyone, look at your screen. It's the warm-ups. James White's warming up.
It's looking good, too. Little sun there at Gillette Stadium.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, Liam. Go ahead. What do you have for us?
Perfect.
No, that's all right. I've just had a long-time listener. Big fan of you boys.
Thank you.
And a little one as well. I just won the best Madden player in Europe, and I usually listen to you guys as my training and while I'm practicing and stuff. So you can claim some of that win as well.
You won the best what in Europe?
The Madden player, like the American football game.
Oh.
Like video. So
that's fantastic. And you won?
Yeah, I won the best player in Europe. Yeah, so Pat's Nation, we're going strong.
Wow, that's fantastic!
Nice.
Congratulations. Did you win it? Did you win a big cash prize?
That's the only competition I've won that there wasn't any cash prize, unfortunately.
Oh.
Yeah, it's one of those. But I win a nice crown. They're making me a crown.
So none of the real players were actually in this competition because there was no money at stake.
Well, you don't have to say that, Paul, but it's also...
Oh, he's doing that. He's just in the win.
It's a minor plot point in the film Runaway Jury with John Cusack and Gene Hackman, where John Cusack tries to get out of jury duty by telling the judge that he's in the Madden Challenge, and the judge doesn't think too highly of that and puts him on the jury anyway, which is what he wanted in the first place, Liam. So, there's a Hollywood connection there.
Learn something new every day. The reason I was calling, I don't know if you guys have discussed it already, but last year was my first year properly watching American football, and every time I was watching the Patriots, it felt like when we were getting on top of a game, we'd do a big penalty, or when there was a big play, it'd be a big pass interference or a holding, and it seems like it's come through to this game as well. A lot, with the big play, we'll get a holding play, or is it the Damien Harris rush where he got to the 1 yard line, then they called it back for a hold? I've got quite a big worry today that if the D-line for the Saints get a lot of pressure, we're going to be doing a lot of holding penalties, and that will really screw us up in the game. What do you guys think?
Well, I think it's a problem. Unfortunately, Liam, I think it's a rather accurate assessment of what's happened so far, and a very likely scenario today with the continued problems on the offensive line.
Penalties have been a problem, yeah. Penalties have been a problem, but I would never go into a game saying, like, I hope they don't get any big plays called back with penalties. Like, I don't necessarily, like, assume, and they come in different ways too, right?
Yeah.
Like Damien Harris's run to the 1 yard line was created by a hold. Otherwise, he doesn't run to the 1 yard line. But there are others that there's like
nothing to do
an
with
illegal
the outcome.
shift on the other side of the field that
Right.
prevents a 30-yard play from happening that had nothing to do with it. So there's Mac Jones.
There's the Mac.
Everybody,
Return of the
everybody
Mac.
pause. There's Mac. A short time ago, we saw Damien Harris catching some passes. He had his gloves on, so you couldn't see if anything was wrapped up. But
Seemed fine.
Didn't seem like he had any trouble handling the ball at all. With whatever the problem is with the finger that caused him to be listed as limited on Wednesday and Thursday.
Mac Jones all kinds of fires up. He's all fires up, and he's all fires up. Out there on the field, he's yelling, he's kicking, and he's 50. He's 50 years old. Look at that. Looking good out there. Quick uniform talk here.
Blue again.
Blue on blue.
Yeah, and what do we think of the Saints uniforms in general? I have always been underwhelmed with their color scheme.
I don't like the whites. I like the homes, the blacks. I like those, but
I think they're okay.
I like when they wear the gold numbers. Is that what they have on? Because our monitor is not very good.
Looks appears to be.
No, it's
not.
the studio monitor. It's not. Not the shots.
We have the last 4x3 dimension monitor operational in the United States.
Yeah,
4-3.
Yeah, we
There's
truly
your guy.
do.
There's your guy, Doug.
Doug.
Hey, Doug.
Now I think it was Todd mentioned he thought, I'd like to maybe see Uche spying Kamara, which I don't think that's going to be part of the game plan. But I do think,
especially because he's inactive.
Well, right. That's why he was complaining about it. But I think it's really Duggar and Phillips are the two guys that in the passing
I
game
agree.
you could see him lining up. I think it'd be a good test, especially for Duggar, who I think more times than not will take the running backs, whereas Phillips will take the tight ends. So could be a big day for Kyle Duggar there in terms of matching up against one of the best receiving running backs in the whole league.
Yeah, I will say this about the Saints uniforms. As I just got a text from Scott Zolak, who loves the all-whites for the Saints. They've always looked a little Any Given Sunday-ish to me.
The Sharks?
The Saints logo, just everything about it. It's like like, what am I looking at exactly here? It kind of looks like something you would come up with. It's like, we need something that looks like it could be for a football team.
Can you indulge me for a second?
No, of course.
If we're going to talk just 30 seconds, I know we're heading to a break, but what are your thoughts on the all-white period for anybody?
Not a fan.
I'm not either.
No.
A lot of people love the all-whites.
No.
Like
It's
you hear
clean.
like traditionalists love the Colts uniform, the all-white Colts uniform. Oh,
The Colts I don't mind because of the tradition, and it reminds me of old timey Colts. It's
your boy and mine, our favorite Felge, right? Who's a huge Packers fan, even though he hates all things Packers when he talks about them because he gets so frustrated.
Well, wouldn't you be?
They have their old Color Rush uniform was the all white. Oh, sharp. I'm like,
no.
All white to me is like Penn State. Yuck. Like boring.
Yeah.
I mean, did someone just decided I give up? I can't come up with a color scheme, so we're just going to go all white.
Well, interesting enough, Paul, wasn't the last time the Patriots wore all white against Tampa Bay in the Color Rush game a few years ago?
I have absolutely no idea, Mike. You're the only one that would know such
Is
thing.
there a link on the
I believe so.
on the hoodie blog that will give you the
That's
color
the uniform
schemes?
blog, Cardi, to keep them straight.
Sorry.
We haven't gotten a Bill shot. Well, I guess Bill probably doesn't come out for warm-ups, but would be
don't
nice
forget
to get
about
a little
before we go to break. Don't
hoodie
forget
cam.
about Julian Edelman today.
We talked about him while you were out of the room,
Yep.
Paul.
Well, I'm sorry.
We'll talk more about him when we come
No,
back.
we don't have to. If you already talked about it,
we're going to talk because I have a theory. I have a theory
Bronze and Bolton. What?
regarding Julian Edelman's honoring happening today.
Okay.
All right. Beautiful day at Gillette Stadium. You can see in the warm-ups right now. It's just the sun is shining.
James White getting his groove on.
Yeah, he is. Looking good out there already. We want to say thank you to Bridgestone and Sullivan Tire from now through November 3rd. It's my sister's birthday. Buy 4 Bridgestone tires and get $70 off instantly at any Sullivan Tire. Bridgestone, official tire of the New England Patriots. Visit sullivantire.com for details.
TouchView Interactive is here to support your hybrid learning, distance learning, and video conferencing needs with easy-to-use tools that allow end users to collaborate, interact, and present seamlessly. TouchView Interactive offers a comprehensive line of accessories and software to support your audio-visual needs. Outfit your classrooms and presentation spaces with the future of interactive display technology. Visit touchview.com for more info. Offered by the Oakers Company, celebrating 100 years of service and support.
That looks awful. Football's back and it's time to go big. Pepsi pulled pork sandwiches are game day greatness. Now we're ready for game day. Check out some more awesome recipes on madeforpatriotswatching.com.
Johnny, euphonic.
Join the conversation by calling the Ace Ticket hotline at 855-PATS-500 or email the show at webradio@patriots.com.
I don't appreciate it when he starts talking football with me.
Live from our studios inside Gillette Stadium, here's Hardy.
As we look at the on-field warm-ups happening right now at Gillette Stadium as the Patriots get ready to play host to the New Orleans Saints. They will kick off about 40 minutes from now. We are at Gillette Stadium. Hardy, Mike Dussault, Paul Pirillo on the Patriots Pregame Show, which is fueled by Dunkin. Today at halftime, Julian Edelman will be honored. I think, Paul, this is not only a way to honor JE11 and his contributions to the team over the years, but it's also a means to circle the wagons a little bit before Tom Brady week. Should anyone approach Julian Edelman with a microphone or a pen and pad, say, hey, what do you think about Tom Brady? You were one of his favorite targets. He's coming back to Gillette. In the back of Edelman's mind, they just did that nice thing for me at Gillette on Sunday. I better speak well of the Patriots in this and not take any sides here that are going to go against.
I see where you're going with that. I don't know necessarily if Edelman needed to have like a reminder. I think he's been pretty outspoken about how much he benefited from the staff here in Belichick and just the structure and creating what he ended up becoming. He talked about it this week because he was available to the media this week. Deuce, you were on the call, I believe, and he made the comment about how he admitted, I'm paraphrasing, but Belichick's not for everyone.
Yeah.
But for him, it was the perfect guy.
It's interesting to me because I feel like from what the stories we've heard about his dad and how hard his dad was on him, it's similar.
That's why it worked for him.
You can see the crossover of
Frank.
Frank, who also had a great fanny pack. It was one of my favorite stories. My buddy Fitzy, Frank loves to wear a fanny pack and doesn't care what anyone else has to say about his fanny pack. So.
You know what? I wish they would come back. I would love a fanny pack.
It's a great place to put your phone.
I've never worn one.
You could put your keys in there, Paul, and then, in the future.
Oh, wow. That's a shot.
I have them in my bag today.
That's a shot. But you had them in your bag the last time.
Yeah. But I didn't know they were there. And I went in a different door today to avoid that problem. I didn't go in security command today. I went in E3.
By the way, I just saw Jonnu Smith on the field there during the warm-ups. He's so big. Can you throw him the ball today, please?
He's so big.
He's just
so big.
It just hasn't. They haven't hit it on time
Catch
too
radius.
with him. Like he had plenty of great plays in practice and preseason and stuff. And it feels like every time they throw him a pass here in the regular season, it's just a little off, not quite where it needs to be, not quite, that one where he flipped over. And I mean, he's had a hip injury, but. I'd love to see him get more involved.
See Devin McCourty out there on the field. Just as a little aside, here on Friday night, there was a gala for the Oakers Company, which is a Patriots sponsor, and Patrick Chung was there. And I had a chance to – I just dropped a huge name here. I had a chance to do a little back and forth with Patrick Chung for the people there at the gala.
Oh.
What a great guy. Yeah, and good things to say about the team and the defense so far this year, but it was good to see Patrick and he's doing well. And do you know how he's spending his retirement, he said, for the most part?
He's got a lot going on. I think he's I'm forgetting. He's involved in a team, though, isn't he? Didn't he?
Cutting his grass.
Oh,
he says he spends more time now on his lawn than just about anything else. He's obsessed with lawn care and lawn maintenance, which I did not see that coming.
No, I wouldn't see that coming either. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Is it?
Jonnu Smith, he's just so big, says Hardy. So big.
Well, he's
so
on
strong.
the screen. I'm like, oh my God, they should throw him the ball more. Oh, that's all. That's
what Jameis is saying right now, looking at J.C. Jackson.
No.
I should throw him the ball more.
Oh.
Yeah, seeing too, Jules is down there on the sideline. He has a JE11 hoodie with the sleeves cut off, so I don't think there's any question
There's a stunner.
About the loyalties there.
What, a JE11 shirt?
Yeah.
His loyalties are to himself.
So his loyalties are to himself.
But the sleeves are cut off.
Oh, I see what he did there.
Well,
Belichick. Yes.
I'm
Okay.
not going to get into that.
Which did you find to be the low point of the pregame show so far here today, Paul? Was it me commenting on the size of Jonnu Smith, or Deuce commenting on the sleeves being cut off of Edelman's hoodie? What's the low point?
The Patrick Chung lawn care.
Okay.
Didn't care for that
All right,
one.
good.
Didn't
Good.
care for that one.
That's fine. That's fine.
Well, the low point really is the 7 minutes that I have to go and do another
Was it
show.
7 minutes?
Ish. Why, is it longer than
Seems
that?
so much shorter.
Seems quick.
Yeah.
Oh.
It just flies by when you're out of the room. Patriots not fast enough from Shrisha from Bangalore, India. I believe Shrisha emailed the show last week, so thank you for emailing in again.
Worried about the overall team speed?
To webradio@patriots.com. I don't know if you've discussed this.
Mr. Kraft rolling in with.
Yeah, who's he rolling in with? Can you see that?
I don't know.
That is a bright blue
sure.
jacket that Mr.
Big
Kraft
hug
is
for
wearing
J.C.
today.
Jackson. I can't see who the people are. Can you?
No.
I can't tell who's down there. I can't tell who's who.
No. Interesting.
but-
See, I will say this. It's been a while since we've had these kinds of pregame situations. It's you're not really getting
right.
a lot of
Oh,
people
yeah.
on the sidelines. Certainly you
Yeah.
You weren't getting.
Oh, it is Meek Mill.
I was gonna suggest that, but I didn't want to get summarily laughed at by the people who know these sort of things.
I mean, not. Okay,
Okay.
Meek has the blue sweatshirt. Who is in the black sweatshirt? We don't know. Okay. The monitor in here is very small.
It's a terrible monitor.
And the color is off. You know what? It looked like 1997 era Buster Rhymes. Seriously, that's what.
Maybe that's who it was.
No.
Anyway.
Yeah, in a time machine.
Coolio. 1997. I got you. I heard you.
Looked like Buster, didn't it? Yes.
There he is. There's Jules. We know him.
All dressed up for his big honoring today.
Jules!
At halftime.
Jules!
No sleeves.
I mean,
Wasn't it?
I don't want him to not be
What is
himself.
that bag that you're wearing?
But I mean, would a sport coat be out of the question, or even like a Sipowicz dress shirt, short sleeve?
Sipowicz short sleeve dress shirt.
I know it's warm out, but go to Joseph A. Banks, get yourself one of them nice dress shirts that is short sleeve.
Yeah.
Oh, Meek Mill and
Not to be confused with Da Baby.
Meek Mill and
Correct?
There's a lot of babies out there.
That's right. Are you a fan of the Dua Lipa song with Da Baby?
Yeah, he was canceled though.
Yep.
So he's out.
I didn't know that.
Da Baby
version's out.
Da Baby had controversial comments and he's out.
Okay.
A
well,
lot
we
of
won't
radio
talk about
stations
him.
have edited that,
Yeah.
out.
They went to the other version.
I don't even know what the cancellation is for, but we will speak of him no more.
But I'm levitating.
What?
That's the
I'm
Dua Lipa
levitating.
song.
Dua Lipa.
Oh, is that what they're saying in that song?
Yeah.
It's been on a million times in my car because the
You
kids
really
love it.
don't like that kind of music at all, right?
Just in and
Oh,
out.
no,
I'm
some
not
of
making
it-
fun of you at all.
No, some of it's
Pop.
very catchy. That song I do not mind.
That song
How about
is
it?
very catchy.
And I'm Da Baby. I'm Dua Lipa. And I'm Da Baby.
Left foot, right foot, left
Who's the
feet.
baby?
Getting loopy. We got 15 more minutes, boys. Hold it together.
Imagine what we're going to do next week for Tampa.
Oh, a lot of.
There's not going to be many storylines left to discuss
By this
next
point,
week.
we're going to be on fumes.
Well, at
So
this point next week,
I think our camera guy is trying to tell us Jonnu Smith is going to have a
Yeah.
huge game today because we're doing a lot of focus on Jonnu Smith.
yeah, he seems like he's
and
fired up.
I'm really struck with just how big he is.
Yeah.
You know something, Paul?
What?
Why don't you take over
Get a
all
life?
commentary on the warm-up video, and I will say nothing from here on out.
Okay, there we see guys milling around. There's Jonnu Smith running from the 20-yard line.
Is he
Mouthpiece-
big?
Mouthpiece dangling from his face mask, which brings to mind a story from my idiot son who did not have his mouthpiece in yesterday. And I said, "Where's your mouthpiece?" Like, don't really understand why they allowed him on the field without a mouthpiece.
So a little shot there, KVN. Now, I couldn't tell because of the TV
Winnow.
again, but maybe a thing around his neck. I couldn't quite tell, but it maybe appeared for a second that he maybe had something over
A
it.
throat protector?
Such a random
So weird.
throat.
Like the
Not the
goalie
neck.
guard?
It is one of the odder
can't-
injuries that I can recall, and there's KVN
tell.
again.
Is there
Is
something
that his chin strap, or is there something underneath that's on his throat?
It looks like he's got something around his
Missed
neck.
a game with a throat. I don't think I've ever
Is
seen that.
there something to account for the neck roll on the other side? Is there a corresponding piece of equipment?
I don't know. And there's Tavai, of course, got called up, Detroit guy. Now, I wonder, I mean, run stopper, that's what he's kind of known for. Big, not really fast sideline to sideline, but curious if he gets any chance today, if there's anything in mind, not only special teams and Uche being out, but if there's something more for him in the middle.
And Bill always tells us if you're getting activated for a game, it's generally with the intention that you have a role in that game. They're not going to activate a guy off the practice squad and make him active in the game and then have him not play. Generally, the only Patriots that won't play in a game that are active is like the backup quarterback.
Yeah. Or what if it bumps Harvey Longy up and he plays a little bit, which we should give Scal. Scal wrote a great story about Harvey Longy, which got some support from the family. They really enjoyed it. So
from Harvey's mother-in-law,
Yeah,
actually.
for your mother-in-law.
Wrote in to tell us how much she appreciated the story.
For your mother.
For your mother-in-law.
For your mother-in-law.
And in answer to your question, what are we going to be like at this point in the pregame show next week? Well, at this point in the pregame show, it'll be about 7:45 on Sunday night, and we're just going to be punchy from
drunk. I'll be with
having been
Patty
up
and
for
Agawam.
14 hours already on that day.
But I think that's we were talking the schedule this year. It's nice. These 1 p.m. games are awesome, right? Like you're home at 7, but that's one game that's late. But I can manage that to stay up late for that game and all the hype and everything. It'll be a little bit easier than if, let's say,
talk to me at halftime. Just check in with me at halftime next week. Yeah. We'll see.
You'll be face down in the chowder upstairs in red level.
Yeah. Let's step aside one more time. We'll come back and we'll take care of the Sunday six-pack and the rest of your emails here to webradio@patriots.com on the Patriots Pregame Show, fueled by Dunkin.
That looks awful. Football's back and it's time to go big. Pepsi pulled pork sandwiches are game day greatness. Now we're ready for game day. Check out some more awesome recipes on madeforpatriotswatching.com.
Join the conversation by calling the Ace Ticket hotline at 855-PATS-500 or email the show at webradio@patriots.com.
I am unable to start the show because, quite frankly, I'm enjoying the last of my blueberry cake donut.
Live from our studios inside Gillette Stadium, here's Hardy.
All right, back to wrap things up on the Patriots Pregame Show, fueled by Dunkin. Juno, thank you for the red sleeves.
Yep.
Got that.
I got you.
Now, one player I'll be able to identify in the defense all the livelong day.
Red sleeves.
Good stuff. All right.
I would like it if there was like someone that didn't have like a single-digit number decided to wear the sleeves, so we could easily identify that person.
Sure.
Like the number 9 is an easy identifier. The red sleeves is an easy identifier.
Yeah.
9 wasted with the same guy.
Something in the 40s. You don't know what that guy is.
Right. Is
what
that
is he?
Harvey Longy
Is he a special teamer? Or a long snapper?
Yeah.
You don't know.
Make things easier. Alan in Dripping Springs, Texas. Hello, Hardy, Paul, and Deuce. Always enjoy the show. It's Texas, have discussed quite a bit about the balance of winning games this year while developing a rookie first-round quarterback.
Who's next to Mason here? Is that Haran?
Haran, yeah. And then Mike Reese wrote.
Yeah, looks like Haran.
Looks like Haran.
All right.
Sorry, Hardy.
No. Question to, again, y'all is, what do you think is more important? Winning games or developing the rookie first-round quarterback? Secondly, what do you think is more important for Coach Belichick, considering he coached the GOAT for the last 20 years? I think winning games is more important. I truly do. And as long as you don't do it at the expense, or should I say to the detriment of your rookie quarterback. Like what happened with the Jets last week, I don't know what they were doing, if they were trying to win the game, but I think that was detrimental to Zach Wilson. Yeah, if he's a good enough athlete and quarterback, he'll be able to overcome it. But winning games should be paramount. It really should. I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to sacrifice a chance to win a game because you think something might be bad for Mac Jones? You know that the team will exist throughout the season. You know that the team will exist next year. You don't know what Mac Jones is going to be in terms of how long he's going to be in the league. You
totally agree.
Yeah. You cannot, forego a chance to win a game or make decisions based on, I don't know if that's right for Mac right now. We should probably just take the L here and not push things too much. I mean, seriously, what are we talking about?
Yeah, I like it, and it's kind of what I said at the top, where I don't think they're sitting in there being like, well, it doesn't really matter if we win today, but if Mac throws a deep touchdown in the red zone, like then we're all set. Like I think they're totally focused on winning the game, and that's what is important. But of course, I think it goes hand in hand with how is Mac developing, and that, for the outlook for me is everything in terms of the long term. So yeah, it's important. You want to win this game, but remember the big picture with a rookie quarterback as well. So it's a balancing act, and would love to see them get the win today. I think it would just, like we were saying earlier, get them on track and set them up for some positive energy going into next week.
All right. My favorite part of Sunday is watching Paul's pre-red zone chair twist warm-ups. Alex would approve. Do you twist around in your chair, Paul?
Yeah, I get my back gets a little stiff. And there are times that I do that.
Okay, so I don't look at Paul all that much during the show.
No, because you're always looking at Deuce because he's a better-looking guy. I mean, let's call it what it is. I get it. I get it. I understand. You like Jonnu Smith's size.
You get lost in my eyes.
And you like Deuce's face.
Finally, from Travis, the game against Saints feels like a must-win. Lose this, lose next week, because the underdogs be in rough shape, looking for a playoff, probably looking another I don't think of this as a must-win. I want them to win today. I want to see some development. I want to see anything. I don't think my mood changes drastically on them being 1-2 versus 2-2, even with the Bucs coming in next week. I can't force myself to feel differently and place more importance on a win today than I already do. I've tried all week. Of course, you want them to win every single game. But in terms of, non-must-win must-wins, this one ranks kind of low for me. It does.
I know. I'm just trying to do the math in my head.
I agree. You'd have to. I mean, you'd lose a little of your margin for error. But I agree. The Jets got to win that. You got to beat Houston. You got to beat Jacksonville. Those games you can't afford to stumble. But games that can go either way, you're gonna have to find a way to win some and lose some.
Yeah.
I would, this is one I think the Patriots need to get, but I don't think it's a must-win. I agree with Hardy.
All right, let's do the six-pack. Here we go.
This is the Sunday six-pack, so kick back and listen to the position. I'm itching to get the picks back. You better bring a big stack. Don't get it mixed yet. I came to win it, yeah, this is the Sunday six-pack.
Well, let's take a look at the season standings for the Sunday six-pack. I have no idea what they are. Matt Morrell?
On the season, we have Hardy 9-3.
Oh!
And the other two tied at 6-6.
Wait a sec. What did I do last week?
Good job by Hardy.
So,
I mean, Hardy, seriously, that's really good.
Dominant.
Last week, Hardy went 5-1, Mike went 4-2, and Paul went 3-3.
It's not 10-2, but 9-3 is a good record.
Yeah, 9-3 is real good. Same order as we start with some 1 o'clock game here. What do you got for us, Matt?
The 1-1 Washington football team at the 1-1 Buffalo Bills. Buffalo -7.
Yeah, I like Buffalo in this one. I think they're going to continue to live up to their kind of preseason expectations. So I'm going to take the Bills, and I will lay those 7 points.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Bills also. Josh Allen has not played well in the first 2 weeks. I know that he is a little frustrated by that. I think he bounces back with a big game today.
I called that a huge win over the Dolphins last week, as a lot of people did, and I think the Bills continue to roll. I, too, will take the Bills and lay the 7.
All right, moving on to the 4 o'clock games. We have the 1-1 Miami Dolphins at the 2-0 Raiders. Las Vegas -3.5.
Paul?
Yeah, I am going to take the Raiders to cover this game. I'm tempted to take the hook with that half point, but I will not, and I think the Raiders keep it going. See if they have enough maturity to handle a home game over a team struggling that they quote-unquote should be.
The hook bothers me in this one.
Yeah,
I
that
think this
bothered me a
could
little bit,
very
too.
easily be a 3-point game, and for that reason, I'm going with the fish.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Raiders. I will lay the points.
This is why we're losing, Deuce.
Next,
He's schooling us right here in front of us.
I mean, I just told you why you shouldn't take
I
it.
got to go with my heart.
Okay. And again, that's why you're losing. Betting with your heart, kid.
The 2-0 Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the 2-0 Los Angeles Rams. Tampa -1.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but I think Tampa Bay continues to roll here. As much as I'd like to see Matthew Stafford come out on top in this one, I think the Bucs are going to roll once again. I will take the Buccaneers and lay that 1 point.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the same. Until further notice, I'm taking the Bucs.
I'm going to take the LAR. I think the Bucs have been preoccupied all week, and I think the Rams are a pretty good team. I think they handled them pretty good in Tampa last year. I'll take the very, very mild upset.
Okay.
All right, Sunday Night Football. We have the 1-1 Green Bay Packers at the 2-0 San Francisco 49ers. San Francisco -3.5.
Should be a fun game for Sunday Night Football. What do you got, Deuce?
Yeah, I think the Packers are going to keep it rolling. Obviously, they looked much different in week 2 than week 1, found their game a little bit. I'm going to take the Pack.
I like San Francisco big in this game. I just think they're a better team than the Packers.
Yeah, that hook bothers me once again, so I'm going to take the Packers. I don't know that they pull it out, but I think they can keep it within a field goal here, so I'm going to go with the Pack.
I could be in trouble this week.
Oh, that you are.
I have 3 different picks from Hardy, and Hardy is 10-2. Well, 9-3. Sorry, I'm 10-2 in the over-unders.
All right, Monday Night Football. 1-1 Philadelphia Eagles at the 1-1 Dallas Cowboys. Dallas -3.5.
Paulie Paul?
I'm going to take Dallas. I think they have too many weapons for the Eagles to keep up with, but I don't feel great about it. Another hook.
I don't feel great about it either, but I like the Cowboys in this game.
Yeah, me too.
All right, we're all going Dallas on that one, laying 3.5. And finally, Matt.
Wrapping it back around, the 1-1 New Orleans Saints at the 1-0 New England Patriots. I'm sorry, the 1-1 New England Patriots. Typo.
That's just typical.
New England -3.
We ignore the losses around here. They don't count. This is Patriots.com.
What are we doing here? Of course, I'm going to take the Patriots. Julian Edelman Day. I'll lay 3 points against the Saints. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Patriots. I will lay the points. I think it's a close game, but maybe just a little bit closer than the 3 points. Or a little less close. 4 points, maybe.
I agree with Deuce, even though it wasn't English that he was speaking. I think it will be a very, very close game. However, I am taking the Saints to make the last play in this game and come away with
It's gonna be
20-16 victory.
Going to be a lot of blood this week. Going to be a lot of blood this week.
I'm in trouble.
I don't know. Maybe you're going to have a huge week. All right. Final thoughts on the game today, Deuce?
I'm excited. I hope it's a good game. I hope that it doesn't define by mistakes, but good plays. And hopefully the Patriots start to make some strides in areas that they haven't been up to snuff just yet. But ultimately, what matters most, getting that win. And I hope they play 60 minutes, pull out the last play.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of defense in this game. I don't think it'll be an artistic treasure. I think there'll be some turnovers for both sides. And I feel like the team that manages that best will win. And I think I like the Saints' experience in that regard. I just think that Sean Payton looked at what they did offensively last week. He's too good of an offensive coach to have a complete train wreck 2 weeks in a row. So I'm going to just a slight edge for the Saints.
Okay. Well, in terms of what I wanted last week was some more red zone efficiency and didn't get it. So I'm just going to hope for what Deuce. How about not a lot of penalties today? Go out there, play some clean football, and hopefully the red zone stuff and the passes from Mac Jones will happen. As they happen, and we'll talk about it in the post game. We hope that you join us then, Patriots.com, and you can get ready for your calls and emails then. Until then, enjoy the game, and we'll talk to you after the game.
Thank you for downloading this podcast. Subscribe on Apple, Google Play, and everywhere else you listen. Like the show? Please rate and review us. Listener comments and ratings help keep us high in the podcast rankings so new listeners can find us. Be sure to check Patriots.com for more news and more podcasts.